I didn't think there'd be vampires on campus.
We must have been at about 40,000 feet when it happened.
What was that?
You are the Slayer. One girl in all the world.
Did anybody see that?
Yeah.
Guess what? I feel better.
Guys, where are we?
Hey, Sammy, how's it going?
Hi, Pat.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty good.
Good.
How's it going with you?
It's going great. Boy, we're so robotic at the beginning of the episode.
How are you, Patrick, my friend?
I'm wonderful. Thank you, Sammy.
Cool.
Yeah, so what's new with you? What's the latest? What can we catch up on? New chairs? New hair
No
colors?
new chairs today.
No.
I got a new shirt. It has a rainbow on it.
Cool. Reading rainbow?
Yep, see?
Okay, it's just a rainbow.
It was made by my friend Rachel at Cinder and Salt, local Connecticut business.
You're always plugging her.
Yeah, she's awesome. I call her my fairy boss mother because
That's where
she
you
always
get
gives
all your
me...
shirts. You got a beach shirt from her on episode 1, and
Yep.
now you got a rainbow shirt.
Yeah, all my shirts.
All your shirts.
all 11 episodes.
Right.
I did not get my Sunnydale High shirt from her that I was wearing last episode. I wish she made Sunnydale High t-shirts. I'm going to have to call her up with a business idea.
I should get some Lost t-shirts for the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have a whole bunch on Etsy, but I bet a lot of them are spoilers.
Yeah, they probably are.
I'm going to have to wait for the right moments in this podcast.
There were a couple Buffy shirts that I wanted to wear that were spoilers. None of them you would really get exactly what they are. So the Buffy t-shirts were not like direct spoilers, but you would be like, what the heck?
Yeah.
What does that mean? You'd need to know. One of them I might wear. It's almost Christmas.
It's almost Christmas. We're a week away.
Yeah, it's almost Yule. I celebrate Yule.
You'll
that's in
be happy in
4
about a
days.
week.
Yeah. What? Why?
You'll be happy.
Yeah, I know. That's
Okay.
good.
Let's
That's a good one.
get into the show.
You'll
shall
be
we?
sorry you made that joke.
I already am.
What's new with you?
I don't know.
Clearly, I have nothing exciting going on.
Clearly,
so-
I don't either, because every time you ask me every week what's going on, I have to like sit there and think about it, and honestly, I have no idea. What's been going on? Oh, it snowed today. Big snowstorm.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Well,
exciting.
How did we not talk about that? That was
so
crazy.
exciting. Lots of snow. 'Tis the season. Feels
Yeah.
like
Did you leave
December.
your house?
Did I leave my house?
Yeah, like, did you have to go anywhere?
No, I never leave my house.
Snow or no?
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
have a snowblower?
No, I wish I did. But I
man.
did go out and shovel for a good solid 2 hours today.
Yeah.
Got through the driveway, probably hurt my back in the process, but it was good.
We have a snowblower, but it has this really great feature of not working when it snows.
Ooh, that is a nice feature.
Yeah, it starts up just fine when it's sunny and warm. Mm-hmm. But when it snows, it doesn't actually turn on.
That stinks.
So I called my dad today because Dave was like, I gotta go to work. Like he didn't have time to like, really shovel anything this morning, except for like getting his car out, which still took an hour and a half. Like even though
Yeah.
he was at the end of the driveway, because there was like over a foot of snow, I think.
Yeah.
Down here anyway.
I got like a foot and a little bit more, I think. But I
Yeah.
think you got hit more than I did, which is usually the reverse, where I always get more. But
you always get the crazier weather.
yeah.
And I got to fulfill a bunch of orders.
Right.
So I'm like, I got to get to my studio tomorrow.
So you did the only thing reasonable, and you hooked up a little shovel to Appa, and you said, go back and forth. Plow the fields,
Mush, Appa,
Appa.
mush. No, that would not work. He does not like the snow.
No.
I called my dad and was like, hey, can you come over and look at our snowblower? So he came over in the afternoon and
You told him to look
and he
at
was
it?
like, yeah, I was like, just look at it.
He's like, okay, I see it.
And he was like, yeah, I'm going to spend like maybe a couple of minutes looking at this because I don't want to tool around with an engine. It's cold outside. So I'm just going to tool around with it a little bit. And then if I can't fix it, which I probably won't be able to, I brought my snowblower and I was like, yes. And then he said something like, yeah. And I, even if I can fix yours, I'm going to use mine because mine is like a mighty beast and yours is like this tiny little.
It's a weak snowblower.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. But I was like, wow, I really was not like, I didn't call him expecting him to come over and actually. Like, I thought he was just going to, hopefully fix our snowblower. But he came and he snowblowed. Snowblued?
Snowblued. I'm pretty sure that's it. Snowblued.
Yeah, he snowblued our driveway. Yeah, so he snowblued.
Cool.
It was very nice. Now we're here.
We're here.
We started with a snowstorm. Now we're here.
And now we're here, ready to podcast about Buffy and Lost.
Yes. So this is the second to last episode of the season for Buffy.
Cool. This is
season.
exciting. Let's get into it.
All right, let's get into it. Okay, so we are talking about Buffy Season 1, Episode 11. It is called Out of Mind, Out of Sight.
Out of mind, ellipses, out of sight.
Is it? In
Isn't
some
it?
places it's comma.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just comma.
I wrote ellipses.
Out of mind, comma, out of sight.
Out of mind, ... out of sight.
That's like the way my dad would write it because he ellipses all over the place.
In texts and such.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually wrote down out of sight, out of mind because it's a play on that phrase. The phrase,
It's backwards.
is out of sight, out of mind. But
Right.
this episode is out of mind, out of sight, and we'll get into obviously why. Anyway, original air date is May 19th, 1997. This episode was written by Joss Whedon, Ashley Gable, and Thomas A. Swiden, and directed by Reza Badiyi. Yeah, I know. As soon as I saw these names pop up, I was like, oh, I'm fucked.
You know what I just found, which is I'm really excited about, is
What?
On Lost, there's a whole website that actually I think you found originally called Lostpedia, and it's got all.
I found that one.
So
Well, I shared it with you anyway.
I don't know if it does this for all of the people, but for the writer of this episode, I was like, how do you say that? And it actually had it phonetically. Yeah, and I was like, yes,
That's
finally.
really funny.
Yeah.
I even wrote that down phonetically, and I still fucked it up.
Oh, boy.
But I also don't know. Like, my phonetics could be wrong. I wrote it down.
Right.
So
Well,
if that's wrong, I'm sorry.
As long as you try. If you're
I
giving
tried.
it your best shot.
You know, I grew up in America. We don't prioritize you learning second languages.
Whoa.
So please try not to blame me.
Yeah.
Blame the system. Cool. Your predictions, just your more recent predictions,
Yep.
were that Snyder was going to be a thorn in the side of the Scooby Gang / Slayerettes for the next few episodes, and then the Master will kill him in the finale.
Mm-hmm.
You also said that we're going to get more naked Xander.
Oh, definitely got to get more naked Xander in there.
Yeah. He's got a hot bod, you think?
We got some more naked boys in this one, but not naked Xander.
Yeah. Not Xander yet.
Yeah.
And you said that Buffy will have a vamp face again, but it will go back to normal. So I think what you were kind of saying is that it's going to happen in some kind of nightmare or alternate reality situation.
Oh yeah, this isn't that wasn't the last time we see Buffy in vamp face. That's going to happen a few times.
All right.
Yeah.
So those were your predictions.
Cool.
So I would like to start this by talking about this episode with a little bit of a song for you.
Oh, you wrote a song for me again?
I did.
Okay. Let's hear it.
I know you love it. And I hope you get the reference. I'm not sure you will, but
Okay.
maybe I think you will.
Okay.
So, it's springtime for Cordelia in Sunnydale. Do you get the reference?
No, I don't get it.
It's from the producers. It's the song
Oh.
Springtime for Hitler.
Oh, right. Okay. It did sound a little familiar, but it didn't ring any bells, really.
All right. Well, I also can't sing, so. But
Okay.
I insist on doing it anyway. So anyway, we start off with Cordelia talking about how great spring is.
Yeah.
She's hanging on the arm of some good-looking jock guy, flanked by her blonde lackey, whose name we learn is Harmony.
I know the guy's name, too.
Yeah, the guy's name is what?
Mitch.
Yeah, good job, Pat.
Yes, nailed it.
And she's talking about how much she loves spring. She's looking forward to the spring dance. And of course, she's having her dress specially made because off the rack gives me hives. And we were just talking about hives.
Maybe that's what gives me hives too. I'm not sure. Maybe I need like specially made clothes.
Maybe you do.
Yeah.
You got to get a tailor.
Yeah, I do got to get a tailor.
You got to get one of the Queer Eye guys.
Oh, definitely. I would dress so much better.
You would.
My style is so lame. My style I would classify as functional.
Yeah, laid back, functional.
Laid back, functional.
Yeah, I feel like that's about. Well, mine is like bright and colorful.
Mine's
laid back, functional.
Blander the better.
Blander the better.
Yeah, I
not Xander the better, Blander the better. Oh my god, I can't. That's like a tongue twister for me.
That's a Dr. Seuss book if I've ever heard one. Yeah, the blander the better. I love grays. I love blacks.
Ugh,
I love
can't do
greens and blues. Dark blues are very good.
That's because you just want to fade into the background.
Oh,
I want a flashlight on me.
No, I want to disappear into the shadows.
Like Angel?
Yeah, exactly, like Angel. But doesn't he wear like white t-shirts and such?
Yeah.
Yeah, like an angel.
Ugh.
So dreamy.
So dreamy. Hope we get some naked angel soon.
All right, take it easy. I just saw your eyes glaze over.
Okay, hives. We're talking about hives. I feel like Austin Powers. Baseball, cold showers.
Yeah.
Margaret Thatcher naked on a cold day.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so hives. So Mitch tries to say something sweet about her dress matching her blue eyes, but she corrects them that they're hazel and then calls him Helen Keller.
Yeah, that's
real
not
nice, Cordelia.
Not nice, Cordy.
Buffy rushes out of the library and sort of like trips on them, and kind of like falls onto the floor and drops a bunch of weapons.
Yeah, there's some hardcore weapons in there too. There's stakes, of course.
Yeah,
but there's also like. I got a quick look at it, but it was like a flail, like a ball and chain, sort of like a spike thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And some other stuff, like stabby tools. Yeah.
Some stabby tools. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Tools for stabbing.
Mm-hmm.
And Cordy says, "Behold the weirdness."
Yeah.
And then, Buffy sort of like does her classic Buffy cover-up, fumbling through an explanation of how the weapons are for history class, and nobody really cares. They're just like, okay, and walk away.
In that moment, I would agree with Cordelia, though. If you know nothing about the vampire slaying and you saw a girl with all of this crap in her backpack, I would be like,
weird.
yeah, weirdness. Yeah,
This
100%.
is weird.
I'm beholding it.
Yeah, I mean, if it were me and I was coming out of a library and I had all of those things, I would be like, it's for drama club. And everyone would be like, yeah, because she's a fucking weirdo drama nerd, and it would make sense.
She is not an actress, though. Didn't you see her in the talent show? She's terrible. Terrible actress.
Oh, Buffy?
Yeah, there's no way she could be in that drama club.
That's true. Yeah, good point. Good point. That wouldn't be great. But again, Cordelia doesn't care. She just wants to say what she needs to say, make fun of people, and move on.
True.
So that's what she does. So she and, her little gang walk off as she sort of continues to smack talk Buffy. Mm-hmm. And Buffy just looks on sort of sad. And then in what I assume is some kind of English or literature class, a teacher is reading a few lines from Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice. She says, "If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? If you wrong us, shall we not seek revenge?" And she leads the class in a discussion about the anger of outcasts in a society, which is actually pretty relevant, of course, to this
episode. Yeah.
And Cordelia has a very unique perspective on this. So she's saying that Shylock, who's the character who was sort of like monologuing there, should get over himself. She says that Shylock is basically like a whiny bitch who needs to get over himself.
Right.
And Willow, who, by the way, is wearing a Scooby-Doo shirt.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that.
I did notice that. It's actually in my notes. Another connection to Scooby-Doo.
I think you're going to say the thing that I was going to say at the end, but go ahead.
Sarah Michelle Gellar was in Scooby-Doo movie, which I
Yeah,
saw
too.
in movie theaters.
She was in 2 of them.
Oh, I didn't see the second one. I only saw the first one.
Yeah.
Wait, maybe I saw the second one. Was the first one the one on the island?
I don't know. I didn't see them.
What? Come on.
I'm
What
not
kind of
into
Buffy
Scooby-Doo.
fan are you? You're not going to see Scooby-Doo?
I'm a fan of Buffy. I'm not a fan of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah,
That's the
but
kind
Buffy
of fan I am.
and Sarah Michelle Gellar, they're like the same person.
I probably saw the first one as well and didn't see the second. Because I remember going as... What year did the first one come out?
Must have been 2002 because I saw it with my high school girlfriend in theaters.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Because I remember summer of 2005 going as the Scooby-Doo gang for...
That
We
could
were
have been when the
dressing up
second
for
one came
Six
out.
Flags. They must have done a Halloween thing. I don't know.
They always do a Halloween thing.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, the people I was going with decided that they wanted to be the Scooby-Doo gang. Bet you can guess who I was.
You were Velma.
Yeah.
Checks out.
Yeah. But yes, you're correct. Sarah Michelle Gellar was in 2 Scooby-Doo movies.
Okay. Cool.
So Willow kind of offers a counterpoint that, she's like, well, everyone looked down on Shylock.
Mm-hmm.
And Cordelia says, that is such a Twinkie defense. Shylock should get over himself. People who think their problems are so huge craze me. Like this time I sort of ran over this girl on her bike. It was the most traumatizing event of my life. And she's trying to make it about her leg. Like my pain meant nothing.
Yeah. That's
And
got
I
to be
was
pretty
like, what
traumatizing.
Fuck, Cordelia. And somehow the teacher manages to like not cuss Cordelia out and be like, really, bitch? But she's just like, yeah, Cordelia has an interesting point. And
This
I'm kinda
teacher's
like,
a fan of Cordelia, which
She is.
that came out of left field. I was like, who's a fan of Cordelia other than kids who just want to be popular?
well, I mean, her point is like she says like, oh, it's nice that someone has actually done the reading.
She's participating in class, which I think is what this teacher is into.
Yeah, like, I mean, okay, this is sort of a weird and warped perspective that Cordelia has, but at least she's doing the reading
She's
and
thinking
participating.
about it. She understands what they're trying to get at with
Yeah.
Shylock, maybe.
Yeah. Then the bell rings and class is over. Cordelia stays behind to ask the teacher, Miss Miller, for extra help on a paper, and they agree to meet after school the next day. She sees Harmony in the hallway, and she tells Harmony that her dress is ready, and she's like, Mitch is gonna die,
Yeah.
which people keep saying in this show, and I feel like they shouldn't say that in the show.
What? That Mitch is going to die?
Well, remember in the episode in I, Robot You, Jane,
Yeah.
when Miss Calendar is like, hey, Fritz, like you and Dave are clocking a whole lot of computer time. Like you working on a project? And he's like, yeah. She's like, cool. Am I going to be excited? And he's like, you'll die. I mean,
Party.
she doesn't die, but
Party.
like, just, phrasing people. You can't say that kind of stuff in Sunnydale.
A lot of
Don't you know
people
you
die
live
at
on a hellmouth?
Sunnydale. Yeah, so much death at your high school. Take it easy with the D word.
Yeah, take it
Yeah.
easy. All right. So then we cut to the boys' locker room and we see Mitch. And frankly, if we know anything about the Sunnydale High locker rooms, it's
They're
that
huge.
there is a real they're huge.
They're huge. It's like a warehouse locker room with short little lockers so you can see everybody's heads.
That's true. But
Yeah.
also there's a real possibility that Mitch is going to die in here because everything bad happens in the locker rooms.
That's true. It's just nice that the boys' room is getting a little action because normally it's always the girls' room.
It is always the girls' room.
And the boys' room is much bigger. The girls' room feels very claustrophobic compared to the boys' locker room.
Yeah, well, boys in sports, I guess.
What, they're going to like shoot the basketball a little bit while they're getting dressed?
No, just like everybody cares more about men's sports than women's. So
So they
shove,
get
shove
more
the women in the
space.
dinky locker room.
Well, I think their lockers are taller though, so they get more space for their things.
And for bodies.
Well, possibly. Oh, right. Possibly more privacy too.
Yeah.
Because I would feel very
That's
exposed
true.
in that locker room, that male locker room.
So when you like had like gym class and stuff, did you just change out in the open in the locker rooms, or did you have like stalls that you changed in?
No, it was out in the open.
Oh my God, that's so
Yeah, it was
I
never
can't do
fun.
it.
It was never fun.
I always went into the like we had a couple of bathrooms, inside.
Yeah.
So I always waited until one of those were free and I changed in there.
Yeah. No, it's different. Different
Maybe.
where I grew up.
Did you have the option of changing in like a stall or a...
No.
Wow.
No. Well, they might have had like a stall somewhere. I'm trying to think back. I mean, I went to a lot of different schools growing up, but most of them, I think all of them had like a big open locker room.
I'm talking high school though.
High school.
Yeah.
Ooh, we had 2 high schools because we moved into a new one. I don't remember the locker room in the new one. I'm trying to think back. But the old locker room I remember, and that was open as well. Open showers too. Like one big shower room. Yeah.
And you got naked? Everybody?
I think some people did. I never showered after gym class. I don't
I
think
mean,
many
if the
people
option
shower.
was to strip down in front of everybody, like, yeah, I wouldn't either.
Right. If it's like get naked with all
But
your
I understand if
classmates
that's
and
more
shower.
for like, if it's more for like like getting into the pool, I get that. Because you're showering
Yes.
down in your bathing suit
That's true. You could do that.
before and after,
Yep.
But if it's not like, oh, I don't know. I'm not into that. I'm not into that.
No, it's no fun. It's not a good time.
Maybe I have weird. I don't feel like I have any shame around my
it's just-
body, but like
It's just privacy. It's just you're
yeah,
not
like
used to getting naked
you're like
with
14.
right.
You know?
Yeah, especially at that age, you don't want to get naked with your friends.
No, it's weird.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah. Anyway, stay out of the locker rooms, people.
Yeah, bad stuff happens in Sunnydale.
In Sunnydale. So Mitch is in the boys' locker room. Some guy comes up and asks Mitch if he's going to the Bronze later. He says that he will be there after he picks up his tux. And the guy says, yeah, you got to look good to be on Cordelia's arm. And Mitch says,
That's not where I'm trying to be. Something like that.
it's not her arm I'm looking to be on.
Yeah,
I just had a feeling
close.
you knew that line. And I was like, what are you trying to be on?
What are you trying to be on?
What are you trying to be on?
Yeah.
Like,
I just want to like sit on her head. I want to be on her head. Or like on her shoulders. She like carry me around, We do like
Mitch
chicken
on a
fights.
bitch. Like Elf on a Shelf. Mitch
See,
on a bitch.
I wouldn't say that. That's disrespectful.
I can say it. I'm a woman.
I know.
And Cordelia's a bitch. And I would have called her that.
Yes, you would have.
But we get a little human side of Cordelia later, which is nice. We'll get to that.
Yeah, spoilers.
All right. Yeah. And also, like, do guys really talk like that?
No, we've already been over this. Guys don't talk like that. If they do, it's like a joke. Kind of like what you just joked about.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I do talk.
You do
like
it for
that.
a laugh.
I do it for a laugh. Yeah, I mean, the guys that I hung around didn't talk like that, but I was also hanging out with like drama and band kids, not jocks. So who knows?
I don't even think jocks were talking about that. If anything, they're talking about sports.
Yeah, that's what's
we can't
important.
generalize. It's
Yeah.
going to be different depending on who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Write us in. What did you talk about in high school?
Yeah.
So yeah, then we hear some footsteps. So the guys leave, they're like, oh, and they leave. And then and then Mitch is alone. We hear some footsteps and some female giggling. Mitch goes, Mitch is like, who's there, whatever, kind of like trying to investigate. And then he goes to pick up a bat.
Yeah.
Because he's getting a little freaked out. But the bat, like, kind of picks itself up.
Yeah.
And
floating bat.
just beats up Mitch.
Yeah, CGI, Louisville Slugger,
Yeah.
whacks his face.
Yeah, that was
Mitch's
pretty.
face.
I felt like the graphics were pretty bad there.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't terrible,
I was
but
okay
it was
with
like,
it. I was okay with it.
all right, good.
I mean, it was like, if I had the choice between that CGI bat, and we got many other CGI items throughout this episode, or bat on string, as long as
Yeah.
I can't see the string, like, easily, I'm always going to go bat on string, just because
Yeah.
it looks better. But this one, for 97, for this low resolution, standard definition effect, I'm okay with it.
Okay,
I'll give
Passes.
it the pass. Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So then we go to the intro. Back from the intro music, Cordelia is bribing her fellow students with chocolates
Yeah.
to vote for her as May Queen. By the way, the May Queen is a pagan tradition of electing a young girl to symbolize the purity of spring and kick off May Day or Beltane celebrations, which happen on May 1st. I know you're why are you making that face? Why do you get so uncomfortable when I talk about witch stuff?
No, I'm not making any face.
I'm giving you historical context.
I know. No, I just had something in my eyes. I was like, oh boy, I got to get more sleep. They're like drying out. So I squint them like this.
I'm just going to reference pagan stuff in every episode now. And I'm going to see how often you try to cut it.
I don't cut.
And I will cut you, Pat.
Jesus.
I cut a boy's sweater once.
Yeah, I believe it. I don't want to get cut or milk in my face.
Yeah, the one guy that I heard talking about crazy sex stuff, I threw milk at him in high school.
I don't want that.
Yes. So that's where the May Queen originally comes from. It's a celebration of springtime and fertility, and there's usually a maypole. And no, it is not like the movie Midsummer. Let's not even talk about that.
Yeah, no spoilers.
I haven't either, because I was just like, this is going to just
I heard it's really scary or depressing or weird or something.
I mean, from everything I've read about it, it's like weird and fucked up. But maybe we should watch that.
Maybe.
All right. I mean, I can take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cordelia does not give Buffy any chocolate because she says she doesn't need the fringe loony vote.
Yeah, I wrote that one down. Loony fringe vote.
Fringe loony, I think it is.
I thought it was loony fringe.
Well,
we don't need to check it.
We're gonna have to go to the tape.
No, we don't have to go to the tape. It's fine. It's fine.
All right. Buffy so Cordelia kind of walks away, and Buffy's like, I don't even like chocolate.
Who doesn't like chocolate? But loves
I know,
chocolate?
and she's like, that was lame. Then Xander and Willow, approach Buffy and ask what Cordy's up to, and then they kind of like share a laugh about a silly past memory of Cordelia that, of course, Buffy is not in on.
So Willow and Xander are giggling pretty hard together here, and they do this a few times throughout this episode, and I thought it was like leading to something, but I don't really, now that I'm looking back, I'm like, why were they shown giggling together? Is it just showing like the progression of their relationship? Like, oh, they have something, like they giggle together, they have lots of memories, like just sort of planting that seed?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of that, and a little bit, like, because Buffy, later on, Buffy talks about, like, she sort of feels a little isolated sometimes. Mm-hmm. And so I think this is just an example of, like, even in this school where she now seems to have, like, a pretty good group of core people, mostly Willow and Xander that she hangs out with, but she'll never be part of like their history.
Like the friendship memories that you build upon and have all these inside jokes. She's feeling a bit of an outsider.
Yeah.
From time to time.
Exactly. So yeah, I don't think it's like too deep, but
yeah.
And then, so they're kind of like, they're basically like making fun of Cordelia and how like she's always wanted titles.
Yeah.
They're kind of giggling about that. And then, Xander's like, what kind of moron would want to be a May Queen anyway? And then Buffy's like, I did. And she talks about how she was at her last school. And I was thinking about this, like, this has never occurred to me until this rewatch. I kind of get that they're using this, like, May Queen popularity contest race thing as a plot device. But Cordelia, Buffy, Willow, and Xander are all sophomores. So, like, it's weird to me that Cordelia is, like, ruling the school as a sophomore.
As a sophomore.
Like, where are the seniors?
Right.
Because I feel like, usually in high school, there's kind of this hierarchy, right? Like, when you're a sophomore, you're still, like, a lower class person or whatever. Like, you're not.
Right. See, I'm interested to see how old they actually get in these seasons. Like, is it like Harry Potter where the next season they come back and it's the next year? I doubt it. It's probably going to be, like, the next month or something, and they're going to be in high school throughout this entire series.
I don't know. I do know, actually. I do know.
Time will tell.
Can't
will
tell
they
you
go
that.
to community college? I don't know. Will they get
these are
part-time
some great
jobs? Who
these
knows?
are some great predictions that you can have when we talk about
Where's
the
my
wrap-up
pen?
of season 1.
Just grab my pen, my notebook here.
Yeah, write it down. Pork and beans, write it down.
Pork and beans, write it down.
Are you going to actually write it down? Because you got your notepad out, you got your pen, and then you just looked up.
Yeah, what am I writing?
Oh my God. You're writing down that you think they're going to be perpetually in high school. And I'm just feeding this back to you. You don't have to make a prediction out of it.
This is why you're here. This is part of your position.
I remember stuff.
Co-chair, host, co-president, co-CEO. Yeah, you get all the titles. You get all the co-titles here on this podcast. Co-creator, co-showrunner.
Creatrix.
Sure. Okay. All right, I wrote it down.
I would like to be Buffy's CEO.
What?
And you can be Lost CEO.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
Then
people
it sounds
talk to
like
your
you're
people.
just like always getting lost in like closets and stuff. And I have to constantly be like, Patrick, it's this way, buddy.
I mean, that kind of makes sense.
That does kind of make sense.
Given the show's history and then me trying to take notes and not remembering it.
Yes.
I am Lost CEO for sure.
Oh, God. Okay. Then we get, the guy that Mitch was talking to in the locker room runs into the hallway yelling, Mitch got wailed on. I think he's, and then we cut to Snyder saying, dead? Of course not. What are you, ghouls?
Yeah, Snyder, he's back.
Snyder's back.
Principal ears. That guy's got some wicked ears.
Oh, Snyder, yeah. He's fun. He's fun to look at. You got to look at him.
You got to look at him for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, and then paramedics wheel Mitch out into the hallway. Buffy asks him what happened, and Mitch explains that the bat was just floating and knocked him out. Mm-hmm. Buffy heads to the locker room, but Snyder stops her and is just like, where are you going, And then Willow distracts him, Snyder, by saying that she heard Mitch's dad, the most powerful lawyer in Sunnydale, is going to sue. And so, Snyder's like, what? Sue? What? Sue who? And he kind of like turns his attention to them, which allows Buffy to sneak into the locker room. Mm-hmm. So she investigates the crime scene, finds the bat on the ground. She sees the word look is written. I can't tell. I don't think it's blood. I think it's just like red spray paint.
I'm going to go with deodorant.
Well, it's definitely red.
Yeah, you could have red deodorant, right?
What? Why?
I don't know.
Why would you want to do that to your armpits?
Just so that like it got there. Like if it's white, it's on your
I
armpit.
deodorize with blood.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay, fine. Maybe it's not red. I was just
saying.
I was just saying like
red?
I was just thinking like gym probably deodorant sticks would be about that width. That say look like the width that to stick. Okay.
What? It's clearly spray paint.
Oh, it is. Yeah, you're right.
What are you?
I'm going to edit this.
No, you're not. You don't get to always be the smart one.
You think that's how I come off in this podcast? I doubt I come off as the smart one in this one.
You keep this in and let the people know that you think that there's red deodorant.
Look, I don't. Okay, fine.
What kind of deodorant are you using, Pat? If your deodorant is red, you should get new deodorant, and it should be mine.
It's red, and it's very organic, and it's great for your underarm, and it smells like cinnamon.
That's terrible for you.
Yeah, it's called...
That would burn your armpits.
Huh? Cinnamon? Cinnamon smell?
Yeah.
No, it's just the smell. It's organic.
That means natural.
They call it
or
cinnamon
at least
spice.
Not made with chemicals.
It's a offshoot of Old Spice, cinnamon spice. And you put it on your armpits. It smells real good.
Big red.
Big red.
Big red for your armpits.
Big red smooth. That's what they call it. You just smooth it out. You roll it on.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I swear some of them are like blue.
Yeah,
like Right
but they're
Guard.
not actually...
Right Guard's like a blue gel.
Yeah, but when you actually apply it, it's not blue. It's clear.
It rolls on clear.
Yeah.
I'm remembering the commercials. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, this one rolls on red, okay? So
Rolls
you know that
on
you've
red.
actually applied it. Sometimes you look in the mirror and like, did I actually put on deodorant? I wasn't really paying attention to my morning routine.
Oh, my armpit's red. I guess
it's
I did.
red. Yep, I'm totally in. I'm totally smelling good now.
So stupid.
Cinnamon spice.
Okay, well, pretty sure it was not deodorant. I'm pretty sure it was either spray paint or blood. But I think it was spray paint, just given
Let's go with spray paint.
Given the style.
Yeah. And what happens later on in the episode, like it makes sense that she could find spray paint.
Yeah. So, yes, Buffy tells Willow and Xander over lunch about the look, and she says, monsters don't usually send messages. It's pretty much crush, kill, destroy.
Not look.
And then Giles find them. And I just love his expression as he comes into the cafeteria. He's like, he looks completely lost. Like he's never set foot in the cafeteria. Yeah, like you. Like he's just like, where guys, where am
are
I?
we? Is this where you get cookies and milk?
Right, because he's Santa Claus.
Right.
So then he finds them and, he says Buffy is right, but he doesn't really have any theories. He's like, I've never actually heard of anyone attacked by a lone baseball bat before. And Xander says,
maybe it's a vampire bat.
And he gets nothing. He gets no respect.
Yeah, this is me every time I make any jokes with my friends.
Yeah, not me, though. I wrote, Xander needs friends like us.
That's true. You're the only one
we would
I can
stand
float
up
these
and, like,
stupid jokes by.
We would, like, flip the, like, the lunch trays and be like, ah!
Yeah, we'd be like, we're going home. The day's
Xander
over.
would be like, I can't deal with these idiots anymore. Like, we would be too weird for Xander.
You think so? Yeah, probably.
No,
I don't know.
I think he would love it. I think he'd love the ego boost.
Oh, Xander and us would totally be a trio. We'd
oh my God,
get along
yeah.
very well.
For sure.
I think it would be too weird for Willow.
I think so.
I think it would scare Willow.
Yeah. Because I would like so intensely want to be her friend.
Yeah, she'd be like, just leave me alone. I want to read my books.
So then Giles says, he's like, he thinks that it maybe could be telekinesis or a ghost. And then they sort of split up their research/recon duties. Then we cut to Harmony asking Cordelia why she wasn't in fifth period. And Cordelia tells her that she was at the hospital visiting Mitch, who is okay enough to leave the hospital tomorrow. But of course, she's more worried about how he'll look in their photos.
Yeah, the prom pictures.
Yeah.
His face can be all busted up.
Mm-hmm.
Can't have that.
And then we get sort of like a dreamy...
I called it ghost vision.
Ghost vision?
Ghost vision flashback? Question mark?
Oh, because you're thinking it's a ghost at this point.
Well, that's what they said. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering what you were going to call that. Because I wrote dream phase flashback.
Okay. Not as good as ghost vision, but...
No, I like ghost vision flashback better. Both Cordelia and Harmony talking in this flashback scene, and someone is approaching saying, hi, guys. And then Cordelia is like, what do you want? And that's pretty much it. And then the flashback is over. Cordelia and Harmony keep talking and walking, and Buffy approaches them, and then suddenly Harmony is like kind of pulled back and falls down the stairs. She says that her ankle, she thinks, is broken. In the ensuing chaos, Snyder asks what happened. Harmony says she was pushed. And then we hear some more female laughter. And Buffy kind of notices it and follows it to the band, like back inside the school and into the band room.
Right.
Where something kind of seems to like trip over her.
They bump into each other.
Yeah, they kind of like bump into each other.
Yeah.
And then it disappears. And we see it disappear up into the ceiling tiles, but Buffy doesn't.
Right.
Back outside at the end of the day, we see two guys in black suits leaning.
Yeah, Men in Black.
Yeah, MIB.
MIB.
And they're like not really being that.
They're just standing there.
They're just kind of standing there by a tree.
Yeah, being weirdos.
Being super weirdos. And Buffy, Willow, Xander, and Giles walk past. Buffy asks Giles if he's ever touched a ghost, and Giles says no, but he's heard it described as a rather cold, amorphous feeling. It makes your hair stand on end. And Buffy says, you see, that's my problem. I touched the thing, but it didn't go through me. It bumped into me, and it wasn't cold.
Right. Not very unghost-like.
Very unghost-like.
Because ghosts, you just pass through and you get a little chill.
Yeah, like in Casper.
Right, or Sixth Sense.
So Xander says, so what, we're talking about an invisible person? And Buffy says, a girl, she laughed. Giles says, a girl on campus with the ability to become invisible. And then Xander says he'd give anything to become invisible so he can, quote, protect the girls' locker room.
You know, Xander's really given guys just a bad rap.
I mean, I think Mitch maybe is giving guys a little bit more of a bad rap.
Okay, good point. But Xander's always got to be a creep. He's always got to be like, gotta look at the naked girls.
Gotta have like a slight perviness to him. And I mean, like,
but he's open about it. He always
me.
talks to his girlfriends about it.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't. He lost Jesse. He doesn't have any more male friends that
he's like, I gotta get this perviness out. Who's gonna listen?
But like, this is a thing. I don't know. I guess it depends on the person. But like, I definitely had some guy friends who would say stuff like this. They wouldn't be like, oh, it's not her arm I want to be on. But they might say like, yeah, I'd be invisible and fucking hang out in the girls' locker room. Like that, I feel like it's different to me. One is like very aggressive and the other one is just sort of like passive perviness.
Passive perviness. Yeah. Now that is the alternate title for this episode.
Xander's passive perviness.
Xander.
All right, I got to write that down.
Yeah. So I also noticed
like a lot of our titles come from Buffy, though. So setting aside Xander's passive perviness, I was like, you know what? Those locker rooms could use some protection.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was like, yeah, he's doing it for pervy reasons, but frankly,
he's had some hero moments the past couple of episodes too. So I feel like, he saved some people. Yeah. So would it be all that bad if he was able to just hang out in the girls' locker room and protect them?
Yeah, I mean, it would be
in the
bad
pervy
if
way that he
people
does.
were getting undressed and they didn't know he was there.
Yeah.
That'd be bad.
But if he's saving lives? These are the hard questions we have to ask
These are
ourselves.
the hard questions.
We're the only ones asking them.
Write in, should Xander be allowed to see naked girls if he's protecting the locker room? We want to know what you think. Without their consent.
That's where it gets dicey.
Yeah. We'll see what we get. We'll see what kind of results we get.
Yeah.
Maybe we can make this a poll on Instagram.
Okay.
All right. So Willow
asks... The
answer
is no. There's no way. That's not allowed.
It's not allowed.
Okay.
Willow asks if this person is a witch. And she's like, because we can fight a witch. And then Xander supplies some knowledge about how, there are some Greek myths about cloaks of invisibility, but they're usually for the gods.
Or Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Yeah. So they realize the common factor in Invisible Girl's target is Cordelia.
Invisible Girl's Target? Is that like a store that invisible girls can shop at?
What does it matter if no one can see their clothes?
Excuse me, do you have this invisible socks in blue?
Excuse me, do you have invisible deodorant in red? But I actually want to be able to see the deodorant color.
And the clerk's like, this is too specific for Invisible Girl's Target. You're going to have to go to Invisible Girls Kmart.
God, we're never going to get through this episode.
No, we're not.
Okay. Buffy says she'll keep an eye on Cordelia that evening, and Giles says, this was unscripted, by the way, which I love. Some of the best lines are. Giles says, how exactly to propose to hunt someone you can't see? You may have to work on listening to people. Burn! You don't get it. Do you need me to explain it to you?
Yeah, go ahead and explain it. Just in case. I mean, I know, but I just want to hear you explain it.
What? So he's saying, oh, you may have to work on listening to people, like for a change.
Huh.
How are you going to hunt an invisible person? Oh, you might have to work on listening to people.
Oh, on hearing. Oh, yeah. Okay. I gotcha.
Well, but he's also making a reference to like the fact that Buffy never listens to him.
She never listens, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay.
So. Wasn't the best zinger?
Oh, that's so sad that you didn't get that because I was like, damn, Giles.
No, that's not like a damn Giles.
Some mad shade.
No, that's not mad shade. Come on.
Yes, it is.
Nah, that's lame.
But afterwards, she's like, oh, haha. All right.
Sorry,
I think
that's
mad shade. Write in mad shade, not mad shade.
Write in not mad shade because it's not mad shade.
Write in mad shade because Giles doesn't throw shade at all. So I feel like any shade he throws is mad shade.
Well, last episode, he did say, Willow, do shut up. Mad shade. This one.
Mad shade. Yeah, but this was
you
like
might want to listen,
was like a deep
not mad
dig.
shade.
This was like a deep dig.
Nah.
You got to work on listening
Shallow
to people.
Dig. Shallow dig. Like a 1.5
dig,
inch.
mad
shallow dig.
All right, so this episode is going to be called Passive Perviness Deep Dig
Mad shade.
Mad Shade. All right, back at Sunnydale High later that night, Cordelia's trying on her dress as Buffy looks on sadly from outside in the hall. Then we start to hear flute music, which Giles in the library also hears. Then Giles hears some creaking, asks who's there, turns to face a glass cabinet, but doesn't see anyone. Then he turns back and,
Angel shows up.
Angel shows up.
He's like, hey, have you seen my flute?
And he does not have a reflection.
He doesn't, because vampires don't have reflections.
Yes. Now, we have not seen Angel since Angel.
Right, which is 3 episodes ago?
Yeah, episode 7.
Yeah.
Angel puts Giles at ease by saying he's not there to eat. And they have a short conversation about how he just doesn't eat people anymore. He says he's got news, but it's too hard for him to like be around Buffy. So he's coming to Giles, basically. Giles says, a vampire in love with a slayer. It's rather poetic in a maudlin sort of way. And Angel gives his usual cryptic warning about the master. He says something's already in motion, something big, but I don't know what. And he asks
or
Giles.
Little, like Mini-Me.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know if it's big, if it's little. He doesn't know.
Okay.
And then he asked Giles if he studied all the Slayer lore. I kind of love this part. They're like a little bit nerding out together. And he's like, hey, man, have you read this book? You know,
you got this. You got
cute.
this Slayer book.
Yeah.
He's like, I heard about it.
Giles says he's studied everything he can, but not the best book, which is the Tiberius Manifesto, the Pergamum Codex, which was lost in the 15th century.
Sounds exciting.
Angel sort of mischievously
Mysteriously.
in a mystifying way, looks at Giles and says, not lost, misplaced. I can get it.
He knows a guy.
He knows a guy. And that
He's
makes
got
Giles very happy.
He's got a Slayer comic book guy.
Yeah.
He's
Comic
like,
book.
welcome to the dark side. Your books are in the back. I'm picturing like a boutique with a bunch of books, like leather bound and skin bound.
Yeah.
And the guy's just at the
Naturally.
front. Did you ever watch Simpsons, the comic book guy? Sorry, no refunds.
Okay. I didn't watch Simpsons, really. I know that's like really bad. I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, but
Okay.
yeah, I just didn't. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Anyway, that makes Giles happy. And then Angel sort of raises his eyebrows at the book that Giles is holding, Legends of Vishnu. And Giles explains that there's an invisible girl terrorizing the school. So just for some context, there's no actual book called Legends of Vishnu. It's a reference to the second god in the Hindu Holy Trinity. Some texts describe Vishnu as having a universal form beyond the limits of human sense and perception. And some other texts say that he's referred to as a mortiman, which is having no form. So that's kind of where that sort of comes from. So Giles is looking into that, like this person having no form. And then they both agree invisibility isn't their area of expertise. And Giles says, by all accounts, it's a wonderful power to possess. And Angel, who does not have a reflection, says, oh, I don't know. Looking in the mirror every day and seeing nothing there, it's an overrated pleasure.
How's he do his hair so good if he can't even see himself in a reflection?
He's just blessed that way. Hashtag blessed.
Does his hair even grow?
These are questions we don't know the answers to.
He's probably just got a great barber that he goes to. Great vamp barber. It's only open at night.
Yeah, and that's where he buys his blood deodorant from.
Yeah, he's like, you got any of that blood deodorant that I heard? It smells like cinnamon. Tastes like blood.
They were out of stock at Invisible Girls Target.
Yeah, I'll roll it on my armpit and then I'll take a little lick. Because it's got blood.
Roll and lick, like scratch
Roll
and
and lick?
sniff.
Yeah.
That's so
Cinnamon spice
disgusting.
roll and lick. I think we're onto something.
Oh my god. All right, next product for Floor Apothecary.
Yeah, roll and lick.
Roll and lick
Inspired
blood
by
deodorant.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, episode 11.
God. Okay. Then we get another flashback, but this time we're actually seeing another girl. And she's in the girls' bathroom trying to join in on Harmony and Cordelia's conversation, but they cut her out. And then back in reality, Cordelia is crowned May Queen in the Sunnydale High courtyard. And as she's giving a speech, Willow and Xander meet up with Buffy sort of like on the outskirts of this speech happening. And Willow hands Buffy a list of dead and missing students. And then notices the two men in black suits again. And she wonders aloud if Cordelia has hired bodyguards. Buffy asks about the latest missing student, Marcy Ross, who disappeared 6 months ago. And she plays flute. So Buffy goes to investigate the band room again and notices a boot print on a chair. So she stands on it and then climbs on a bookcase and then goes up into the ceiling because it's got one of those. What do you call those? The drop ceiling. Drop ceiling?
Yeah, drop ceiling.
Okay.
She did a lot of math and able to be like, she's probably up in the drop ceiling. Like, because I saw a boot print on the chair. That means I'm going to climb way up here into the drop ceiling.
Well, she saw the boot print on the chair. So obviously someone was standing on a chair.
Yeah.
And then they couldn't get from the, if you're standing on the chair, there's not really anywhere else to go except for up into the ceiling.
Right, but you could have just done like the Dead Poet Society where you stand in the chair and been like, oh, Captain, my captain, and then step down.
You could have. That's true. But I guess because she had already been in that same band room once, she was like, you know what?
I'm going to check out the ceiling.
I didn't notice this boot print before in this chair in this in this conspicuous place.
Yeah. Okay.
You know?
Sure, I'll buy it.
Maybe her Slayer senses were tingling.
There we go. Now that is an explanation
there
I can
you
get
go.
behind.
Okay, good.
You just keep rolling the dice on your explanations until I buy one.
Yes. So she goes into the ceiling, and after kind of crawling around a little bit, the space opens up into a sort of nest situation.
Like a house.
Yeah, so there's like a bed, a flute, music sheets, a teddy bear. So it definitely looks like a teenage flute playing girl is living there.
Fits the description.
Fits the description.
Teddy bear, check. Yearbook, check. Flute,
Bed.
Deodorant,
music
invisible
sheet,
girl deodorant.
Invisible girl deodorant from Invisible Target.
It's got to be Marcy Ross.
Gotta be. Buffy opens Marcy's yearbook and a knife floats behind her.
Yeah.
Then she's like, yep, this is you. And then she closes the yearbook, takes it with her, and the knife disappears. Then we cut to Miss Miller waiting in her classroom for Cordelia. And Invisible Marcy laughs and puts a plastic bag over Miss Miller's head. Cordelia runs in and saves her as Invisible Marcy writes on the chalkboard, listen.
Listen. Hey, listen.
Hey, listen. In the library, Buffy shows Willow, Xander, and Giles the yearbook. And Willow says, oh my God, have a nice summer. Have a nice summer. This girl had no friends at all.
This part really made me laugh.
Yeah. So Giles goes, once again, I teeter at the precipice of the generation gap. And Buffy goes, have a nice summer is what you write when you have nothing to say. And Xander says, it's the kiss of death. So Giles is like, okay.
And then Willow says, oh, look what I wrote. Have a great summer. See, I cared.
Yeah. So yeah, Buffy points out that Willow and Xander wrote it too. And then they realize that they both had 4 classes with her last year, even though they were like, I didn't know her at all.
Yeah.
And then Buffy says, so no one noticed her and now she's invisible. Giles hits the table, has a real like aha moment.
Right.
And he says, of course, I've been investigating the mystical causes of invisibility when I should have looked at the quantum mechanical. And Buffy's like, I think I speak for everyone when I say, huh?
Huh?
And then he explains it's a rudimentary concept that reality is shaped, even created, by our perception. Buffy says, and with the Hellmouth below us sending out mystical energy, Giles says, people perceived Marcy as invisible, and she became so.
Yeah, which at first made my eyes roll. I was like, really? This is it? But then I was like, whatever. It works, I guess.
They're on a Hellmouth.
Hellmouth
explains a lot.
It does. It's a very easy scapegoat.
So we get another flashback in Miss Miller's class. She's asking the class questions, and Marcy raises her hand every time, but she never gets called on. Then her hand starts to disappear.
Yeah, very Marty McFly, Back to the Future.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Back in the library, Buffy realizes, this isn't a great power that she can control. It's something that was done to her, that we did to her. Technically
Yeah.
not Buffy because she wasn't at the school. Xander asks what she wants, and Buffy shows them a yearbook photo of Cordelia that's all scribbled over. In walks Cordelia, and she's sort of pleading with Buffy. She goes, Buffy, I know we've had our differences with you being so weird and all and hanging out with these total losers. Well, anyway, despite all of that, I know that you share this feeling that we have for each other deep down. And Willow goes, nausea? Cordelia says, somebody is after me. They just tried to kill Miss Miller. She was helping with my homework, and Mitch and Harmony. This is all about me. Me. And Xander goes, wow, for once she's right.
Yeah, she actually put the pieces together
Yeah.
and figured it out.
Well, she always thinks it's about her, but that's what Xander is saying, like, for once this
time
actually is
she
about
actually
her.
got it right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So Buffy says, so you've come to me for help? And Cordelia says, because you're always around when all this weird stuff is happening, and I know you're very strong, and you've got all these weapons, so I was kind of hoping you were in a gang. Please, I don't have anyone else to turn to. So
sometimes she looks like she's in a gang. She's definitely in a Scooby gang of sorts.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's kind of interesting, like, you know, here we peg Cordelia as this person who's like totally just self-involved, and she is, and like, you know, not paying attention to everyone else, but she's clearly noticed that Buffy is around doing stuff, that she's strong, and that she had weapons earlier in this episode.
Yeah.
So they catch Cordelia up on sort of what's going on. And Cordelia, of course, says that she's never seen Marcy before. She's like, I've never seen her before in my life, even though we've already seen all these flashbacks where Marcy was trying to interact with Cordelia.
Yeah.
Invisible Marcy is having like a rage fit in her nest where she's just like walking around and spouting angry things.
Real quick, just to go back, they actually tell Cordelia that Marcy is an invisible girl.
Yes.
And she's just like, yeah, well, whatever, just help. Like,
yeah,
help
she's
protect
just
me.
like, just get rid of it. And
yeah, very unfazed that there's an invisible
and Buffy's
girl.
like, it's a person, you know, like this is a person. And
right.
Cordelia doesn't give a shit. She's just like, I don't care. I want to be crowned, and like, I just don't want people around me to be hurt.
And I don't want to die.
Yeah, so she's pretty unfazed because again, she doesn't care about other people.
Right.
She's like, I don't care what it is, just get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
In the library, they conclude that Marcy will probably try to do something at the coronation that evening. So Willow suggests that they just don't go through with it and kind of all stay away from it. But Cordelia says that if they do, Marcy wins, which she does kind of have a point, and Buffy kind of backs her up on that. So then they decide to use Cordelia as bait to draw Marcy out. But who's listening from in the stacks? It's Invisible Marcy. So then Buffy and Cordelia walk together in the hall, sort of discussing Marcy. And this is where Cordelia has like a real human moment of vulnerability.
Yeah.
You know, she says, you think I'm never lonely because I'm so cute and popular? I can be surrounded by people and be completely alone. It's not like any of them really know me. I don't even know if they like me half the time. People just want to be in a popular zone. Sometimes when I talk, everyone's so busy agreeing with me, they don't hear a word I say. And Buffy says, well, if you feel so alone, then why do you work so hard at being popular? And Cordelia says, well, it beats being alone all by yourself.
Maybe that's why the teacher was into her in the beginning. She's like, oh, she's popular. I don't care what she's saying. I just want to be her friend.
Maybe.
I had a teacher like this. She was all into the popular kids, and she like wanted to be all their friends.
So weird to me.
Isn't it weird? Yeah.
Yeah.
We did not get along, me and her.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
Because obviously you weren't a popular kid.
What are you talking about, man?
We've already talked about this. You were a fringe skater weirdo.
No, I wouldn't say weirdo.
No, the skater boys were cool.
I was
Skater
fringe
kids were cool.
skater. I was friends with all the groups.
Mm-hmm.
All the groups.
All the groups.
I was friends with all the groups.
With all the
I
jocks and
around.
the cheerleaders. Yeah, you were friends with the
all of
cheerleaders.
those. Sure. We were in a very small town. I was friends with everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then in the library, Willow, Giles, and Xander hear the flute music, and they leave to find Marcy. Cordelia changes into her dress in a broom closet and threatens Buffy to never tell anyone. Willow, Xander, and Giles follow the flute music into the basement and like kind of try to reason with Marcy as they go. Then Xander discovers that
it's a boombox.
A boombox. And he says, can you say gulp?
Gulp.
And they're locked into the basement with the gas turned on.
Yeah, gas leak.
Buffy tries to have a heart-to-heart with Cordelia through the closet door, and then Cordelia goes a little too quiet, and Buffy realizes that something's going on in there. So she busts into the closet and then jumps into the ceiling.
She sees Cordelia's feet like dangling going up into the ceiling, like with her old-timey coronation dress. Yeah, Buffy! And then she does a big hop and a swing.
Oh, yeah. She jumps right up into that ceiling.
Jumps right up into the ceiling. And funny aside here. Well, it's not really funny, but it's relevant, okay?
Okay. Oh, you've jumped into a ceiling before?
I've been in so many high school drop ceilings.
What?
I can't even tell you.
Why?
Because for a little while I worked for a company where I installed a lot of cabling, like audio, video cabling and network cables and stuff. Mm-hmm. And it would suck because some of these schools are so old and they'd have asbestos up in the ceiling. Yeah. And then,
how are you not dead?
It's coming, please. It's all going to catch up with me. Paid the bills, though. Tell you what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, every once in a while you'd find like a little hideout too, sort of like what
like
Marcy
a stash,
Ross.
like people stashing their pot.
Yeah, well, no, not like a pot stash, but like you would find like an area where people could like crawl up into, like if you could get on top of the lockers and pop the ceiling, and then if there was like some sort of structure above the drop ceiling, because you couldn't stand on the drop ceiling.
Right.
But if there was like a grate or sometimes there's like an access walkway up there to like fix pipes or something, then people would hop up there and then like create like a little clubhouse. I don't know, maybe. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a whole different world.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's keep moving.
Cool. Let's keep moving through those drop ceilings.
Yeah.
Giles, Willow, and Xander are struggling with how to get out of the basement. Buffy finds Cordelia passed out in Marcy's ceiling nest. Mm-hmm. And then Marcy kind of like kicks her. Buffy falls through the ceiling and then drops down and drugs her.
Yeah, CGI needle comes floating up behind her. And Buffy's very slow to react to this. She's like, huh? What?
Well, she just fell through a ceiling like onto a table and like crushed the table. So she's a little winded.
She's seeing stars.
Yeah. So then Buffy wakes up in the bronze. She's tied to a chair next to a Cordelia who is also tied to a chair.
Oh, she's in the bronze?
Yeah, they're in the bronze.
Oh, I totally didn't put that together. I thought they were backstage like somewhere.
No,
like
well, they talk about it being at the bronze.
Yeah, I missed that.
There's a part where they sort of like pull back and it looks like the bronze. But okay. I mean, I'm super familiar with how it looks. So It makes sense that I would pick that up and potentially, not you.
Yeah. I didn't really pay much attention to it. I just assumed.
Yeah, no, they're at the bronze. Cordelia says that she can't feel her face. And then the word learn is painted in gold glitter on a curtain in front of them. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, that must have taken a while.
Yeah.
That could also be my glitter and glue situations. That took a while.
Right. Or if it was the gold glitter deodorant stick.
Spray paint, you mean?
No, they actually have one that's a gold glitter deodorant stick.
Listen, that I would buy more than a red one.
Yeah,
you know, because ladies like to sparkle.
Ladies like to sparkle underneath their arms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sparkle pits.
Sparkle pits, yeah.
Marcy wheels a cart over to Cordelia.
Yeah.
And Buffy asks what they're supposed to learn. Marcy says, you don't get it. You're not the student. You're the lesson. And Cordelia says, what did you do to my face? And Marcy says, your face. That's what this is all about, isn't it? Your beautiful face. That's what makes you shine just a little bit brighter than the rest of us. We all want what you have, to be noticed, to be remembered, to be seen. Well, I'm fulfilling your fondest wish. And she pulls off the cloth covering the tray, revealing surgical instruments. And she says, I'm going to give you a face no one will ever forget.
Where do you think she got these surgical instruments?
She could have gone from the nurse's office. She's invisible. She can fucking go anywhere.
She went to Invisible Girl Target.
Oh, that's where you're going with this. Okay. Same place she buys her deodorant.
Right.
Marcy taunts Cordelia some more and then slices her face a little bit. She's just kind of like, A
little scalpel, CGI scalpel.
Yeah. Buffy is sort of like scratching like at her restraints, like trying to cut through her rope restraints. Yeah. And then Angel rescues Willow, Giles, and Xander. He gave Giles the book, so he was there to give Giles the book, and he could smell the gas coming out of the basement. So now Buffy, out of her restraints, tries to fight Marcy, who says, "Hey, moron, I'm invisible. How are you going to fight someone you can't see?" And this is a great scene. Buffy stops, tells Cordelia to shut up, and it's like kind of slow motion. Her hair is sort of like blowing very softly in the air, and she's quiet, and everything is quiet.
She's kind of like a Jedi trance mindset.
Yeah, it's like a Jedi, like Matrix moment.
Yeah, slow motion.
Everything is slow motion. So what did you think of this slow-mo part?
Oh, it was chef's kiss.
Beautiful.
Mwah.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I knew you would like this part.
Yeah.
She listens, and she hears Marcy move behind her and turns around and whoop-bam! Punches her out.
So she listened to Giles that
exactly.
time.
She punches Marcy out. Marcy falls into like a curtain type of thing, which of course wraps around her and then makes it very easy to see where she is.
Right. She looks like Little Red Riding Hood.
Yeah. In come the two men in suits, the MIB, and they announce that they're from the FBI. They tell Buffy to forget this never happened, but they don't have a fancy flash beam device.
Right. They don't do the memory flash.
No,
thing.
they don't do that.
So they're not true Men in Black.
No.
They're more like X-Files type.
And then Buffy goes, "Do you guys know that you're very creepy?" And they turn to leave, and then they come back, and he's like...
He goes, "Oh, and have a nice day."
Yeah, and then leaves. I was like, this has to be a reference to something.
I don't know if it's a reference or if it's just weird.
Okay. Because I was like, is this I wrote to like ask you, like, is this an X-Files
I don't
thing?
think it's an X-Files thing. I think it's just them being socially awkward.
Right, because they're FBI. I don't know.
No, I don't know if they're FBI. There's something.
Well,
there's something else.
No, they say they're from the FBI.
Right, but they're just saying that, you know?
Next day, Cordelia has a very heartfelt apology for Buffy, Willow, Xander, and Giles. And she goes, "You really helped me out yesterday and you didn't have to." And Willow starts to invite her to lunch. And then Mitch shows up and says, "You're not really hanging out with these losers, are you?"
She's
and
like,
Cordelia's like, "No." And they walk away. And then we cut to the FBI agents leading Marcy into a classroom full of invisible students. And they're like, "You'll be happy here." She sits down, open her book, and we see a chapter titled Assassination and Infiltration.
Yeah, Invisa assassins.
Yeah. Then like the subtitle refers to like targeting the leader of a cult as an example.
Yikes.
And she's like, cool.
So there's got to be a lot of Invisa people?
Yeah.
Or where do they all come from? Sunnydale?
Well, Buffy was saying when she was talking to the MIB guys, she was like, "So this has happened at other schools, hasn't it?" And they're like, "We can't discuss that," or something like that.
But other schools on the Hellmouth?
I don't know. Is there more Hellmouths?
There's got to be only one, right? You only have one mouth.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
maybe it's the Hell Butt.
Oh, I wouldn't want to be on the Hell Asshole.
No, there are way worse students there.
I got some fun facts for you and trivia. Unless do you have anything else you want to ask about the episode before I talk about that?
Nope. How long are these fun facts going to take?
Quick.
We're deep. Okay.
Fun fact: Dave and I are watching New Girl, and the actress who plays Marcy Ross, Clea Duvall, was in an episode.
She looked familiar. She looked really familiar. I'm sure I've seen her other places.
She's in a couple of things.
Okay.
Sarah Michelle Gellar and Clea Duvall are also in The Grudge together.
Oh.
So I don't know if you've seen
about
that.
The Grudge. I did see it a long time ago when it came out.
So
Spooky.
I don't. That might be where you recognize her. I think she's one of those people that's like in a lot of things. When in class discussing Shylock, Cordelia says that's such a Twinkie defense, which is referring to a derisive label for an improbable legal defense. It was a term coined by reporters during their coverage of the trial of defendant Dan White for the murders of San Francisco City Supervisor Harvey Milk and Mayor George Moscone. White's defense was that he suffered diminished capacity as a result of his depression. His change in diet from healthy food to Twinkies and other sugary food was said to be a symptom of depression. The consumption was symptomatic of his underlying depression and led to his actions resulting in the murder of Milk. White was convicted of voluntary manslaughter, and the story of this is portrayed in the movie Milk, which was in 2008.
Twinkie defense. Yeah, that's a reference that takes some
Twinkie
legwork.
defense. Yeah. So I like, yeah, that just like didn't even, I don't know what, I didn't know what I thought she was trying to say, but yeah, that just like popped
I thought
up
she was
as I
just
looking
making a
at trivia.
silly word.
Yeah.
It's like a boopy defense. It's like a Twinkie defense, you know?
Yeah. So that's what that's from. So again, it's like, damn, Cordelia's smart, you know? All the flashback scenes in this episode are in sepia tone.
I call it ghost vision.
Okay, well that's fine, but it's in sepia tone. And
It's not a very good sepia tone.
No,
I've
it's
seen
not.
sepia tone.
It's the only time in the Buffyverse where this effect is used.
It's because it was so crappy. They're like, let's never do that
They're
again.
like, we can't do this fuzzy crap again.
Yeah. You mean ghost vision? They're like, shut up. We're not calling
Shut
it
up,
that.
Earl.
Shut up, Earl. He's like, okay, fine. I'll just stay back here and file these papers. Like, who hired this guy? I don't know. He's the one who came up with pork and beans.
All right, we keep him on then.
Yeah, keep him on. Yeah, that was good. That was a good part of the show.
The scene in which Marcy watches her hand fade away was inspired by a vivid dream that Joss Whedon had as a child and by
Back to the
the
Future.
scene in Back to the Future.
Yeah. Cool. Great trivia.
Yeah, I was like, damn, because this is, I don't know, to me it's kind of a lackluster episode, but I was like, wow, this trivia, so there's like a lot going on here.
Yeah, this trivia is banging.
Oof.
All right, cool. Are we ready to
cool.
get into Lost?
Oh, I am so ready to talk about this episode. of
Are you?
Lost.
You're excited?
I was on the edge of my seat.
All right, well, let's get into Lost. So Lost Season 1, Episode 11. This one is titled All the Best Cowboys Have Daddy Issues.
Which I was right about.
You were right about it being about...
Well, I was right about the title. Remember?
Oh, you were
last-
right about the title. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you you saw it.
Well, we saw All the Best Cowboys Have DA ...
Oh,
and I
right,
said
that's right.
Daddy
Okay,
Issues, and
that's
Dave
what
was like,
you're right
"There's no
about.
fucking way. That's the name of this title."
And you were right
I was
about that. So this one is directed by Stephen Williams and written by, check out this, Javier Grillo Marxwatch. So this episode aired originally on December 8th, 2004.
Okay. My predictions. Locke is going to be pissed that Saeed, Kate, and Jack were hiding the transmission.
Okay.
And then in terms of backstory, I was like, I doubt we'll get Ethan's, but I wonder if this guy is tied to the psychic, like he was sent to kill Claire's baby because she's going to give birth to an antichrist, like in Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
When I saw the name of the episode, my prediction was that it was either going to be more Sawyer because he's from the South or Jack because he's got daddy issues.
Mm-hmm.
And
And you were right about it being Jack.
Mm-hmm.
This episode picks right up where we left off. Jack, Kate, Hurley, they're all talking about Ethan. And they also ask, like, where's Charlie? Because Charlie was with Claire. So
Yes.
Locke and Jack, they run through the jungle frantically, and they start looking for Charlie and Claire.
Yeah, this is high intensity.
Oh, high intensity. Classic Lost, running through the jungle.
I don't know what happened, but like, I guess I forgot that we left off on like a crazy cliffhanger.
Yeah, with Ethan Rom.
Yeah, because then we started and I was like, oh shit, right. Like, what?
Right, yeah. I'm always glad when they leave with a cliffhanger, then they pick right up from it.
Yeah, rather
I
than
hate when they
going
leave
to
you-
something else.
Yeah, when they leave you with a cliffhanger and then they go to some other storyline with something and you
Yeah.
don't even find out about that cliffhanger till like 3 episodes later.
I
That's annoying.
agree.
Yeah.
That's really annoying.
In all shows.
Yes.
Yeah, Locke and Jack, they're running through the jungle. They're looking for Charlie and Claire, and Locke starts tracking. He starts using his tracking, like his hunting skills, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he finds some drag marks. Jack starts yelling, Claire, and Locke just says, Jack, shh. And then boom, we
Stop
get the
breathing
Lost
so
title.
loud.
Yeah, and he's like, I can't help it. That's how I breathe.
I run a lot.
I run a lot. That's all I do. I don't walk, I run. So we get the Lost title, and then Jack and Locke continue to trek through the jungle, and they're looking for tracks. Jack asks how Ethan could drag 2 people through the jungle. Of course, Locke is like, you're asking the wrong question. Not how, but why? Like, why do they want 2 people? Jack and Locke, they argue a little bit about what to do.
Yeah, this is a very interesting dynamic because I don't think Locke really wants to be a leader per se. He's very wise. He is obviously the hunter. Like he doesn't really want to be a lone wolf, but he doesn't want to be a leader either. And Jack is like, I'm the problem solver. I gotta fix this. And so it's a very interesting dynamic. I feel like it's like now Jack's gotta like sit down and shut up and listen to somebody else.
He's challenged to do that. And I think he struggles with that throughout this episode.
Yes.
And they go back and forth a little bit about it. Yeah, they argue about what to do, basically. Like, Locke wants to go back to the caves. He wants to organize a search party. And Jack just wants to run on. Jack wants to do the old Jack scramble. Like, let's just keep scrambling. Let's keep running this direction and breathe really hard and try to find our friends.
Yeah.
Jack says, Saeed's injured. We're not even sure where he went. He's delirious. And then Locke says, I'm just telling you what the ground is telling me. Very Locke. He's reading the ground, man.
He's reading the ground.
Reading the ground.
He is one with the
island.
The island.
He's got an eye of the island, and he reads the ground.
I am the island. I know I've done that before.
Have you? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have.
Now we get our flashback to Jack fighting to save somebody's life in a surgery room. The patient dies, and he's told to call the death, and he doesn't want to.
And I didn't connect at first that was his dad.
I didn't either, but then I wrote his dad ? Because like I was like, oh, he looks familiar. I think that is his dad.
Well, and he was calling him Jack, right?
Right. He didn't call him Dr. Shepard.
Right. So, yeah. So I was like, I think that's his dad. But then I know at like some point I looked at Dave. I was like, that's Jack's dad, right? And he was like, yeah. I was like, okay, good.
Yep. So that's his dad. And he tells him to call it. And Jack tells him, you call it. You call it, Dad.
Yeah, Dad.
Yeah, Dad. Don't tell me what to do. I'm going to be in my room. So then we cut back. Shannon, Boone, and Locke are talking at the caves. And Boone agrees to help Locke. And Locke tells Michael that more people would just slow him down. Because Michael and Walt sort of come up and they're like, we want to help. We can do things.
Right.
And even Walt's like, yeah, our dog. What's the dog's name again? Vincent. Our dog can track. He can like smell and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what he says exactly, but
yeah,
something
he says
along
something
those
like
lines.
that. He's like, maybe he can smell stuff.
Yeah, and Michael's like, we all want to help. Locke's just kind of a jerk to him. He's like, look, if you want to help, just go south. We're going north. You go south, meaning go to the beach or something. Yeah. Like we don't have space for extra people. Like we got this locked down. That's what he should have said. Oh,
shit.
what? Yeah, he should have said that. That would have been cool.
We got it on lock.
I got this on lock. And then he just winks at Boone, and Boone's like, nice one.
Nice one.
Shannon, did you hear what he said? He
and
said
then
he's got it on lock.
We hear Charlie go, oh.
Oh. And they're like, oh, he's right there. We don't even have to look for him. Yeah. I just love a good joke when I hear one. Good job. Also, I'm being dragged by some weirdos.
Also, did you know I'm in a band? We're still doing things.
You should hear me. My new album. Locke and Jack did split up because Jack wants to run on in a couple scenes back. And then Locke, he's like, which way is it? Because he can't track as good as Locke.
Right.
He can't track.
Yes.
Jack can't track.
Jack can't track.
But Locke can. So he's like, which way do they go? And then Locke, after knowing that he can't really convince Jack because he's in a tizzy, as he always is.
Yeah, he is.
He's like, they went that way. And then Jack's just like, okay. And then he just starts scampering off into the jungle.
Scamper.
He scampers.
We love that word.
And then Locke turned back, and he actually decided to go back to the caves and do what he wanted to do. So they split up at that point. Okay.
Yes.
Jack is in the middle of some tall grass, and he's pretty lost. He's not knowing how to track like Locke. So he's just sort of like, he's like grabbing the leaves and stuff and trying to smell them or something. Finally,
I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, in this scene in my notes, I said, finally something Jack can't do. Like,
yes,
normally
that's
he's
true.
a jack of all trades. He can do a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And finally he can't track, and it's kind of nice to see him not be able to do something. Mm-hmm. Then we cut back to the surgery room. Jack and his father are arguing about how his dad's hands were shaking during the surgery, of which is why the patient died. So Jack stepped in to help, and then he asked his dad, how many drinks at lunch did you have, Dad? So obviously his dad has some alcoholism problems.
Which we know from his previous flashbacks.
It's affecting his work.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
No.
Can't be killing people, Jack's dad.
No, you can't be
Christian.
drinking on the job when you're a surgeon.
Well, you can't be drinking on the job, period.
You can't be drinking on the job, period. But especially
Unless you're a podcast host.
Right. Yes. Especially if you're a surgeon.
Right. Yeah. That can't be happening.
And
if it's making your hands
let me be
shake,
clear. I have
Okay.
one drink.
I'm allowing it. But if your hands start shaking, I can't have that. They got to be steady.
My hands start shaking. My voice starts quaking. Just cut that out. I don't know what that was.
How many times are you going to break in a song?
As many times as it takes, Pat.
So now we cut back to Jack, Kate, and Locke. They're reconnecting in this grassy area, and I think Jack's, kind of relieved because he's a little lost at this point.
Yeah, well, and I think this is when Locke is like, oh, well, it's a good thing that you kept running around in circles because we were able to find you.
yeah, we caught up with you, pal.
Yowza.
Yeah, but nice trying to scramble off on your own. That was a good move.
Good job sniffing leaves, Jack.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know what it's doing. Locke tells Jack that he didn't think Ethan was that weird. Of course, Locke thinks like Ethan's like his boy. He's like, no, we hunted together.
They went hunting, together.
Yeah, they were like hunting buddies.
And he's like, I feel like responsible. I didn't know he was a weirdo.
Yeah, I thought he was cool. I don't know.
But Locke's got a little bit of an off vibe about him, so.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, Ethan Rom would be his buddy, for sure.
Yeah.
But he does know a whole lot about tracking and hunting, this Ethan Rom.
Right, so he's basically like, this guy is better than me.
If you think I'm a good tracker, this Ethan Rom, oh, he's a pro tracker. So Michael and Hurley fill water bottles back at the caves, and Michael expresses his frustration with Locke, telling him to basically stand down. Walt agrees with Locke, saying, he knows his stuff.
He's a warrior.
Yeah.
He's the only one who brought knives, so if it were me, I'd listen to him.
Yeah, Michael doesn't like that.
No, but you know what? He's being kind of a dick. He always just sort of brushes Walt aside. And I get it.
Who, Michael?
Yeah.
Michael's, yeah.
He's clearly a new dad. He was probably thrust into this responsibility without really
Locke
having a
has
choice.
done better job of paying attention to him and validating his existence.
Right. Yeah. So and I know I've expressed this before, when they were golfing, but I'm just really tired of how he's just treating him with such disregard. And Walt seems to be a pretty good kid. He's not just fucking around messing with people or anything. He's trying to help. He's just trying to
He's not a problem child.
Yeah. So I was like, Michael, you gotta pay attention to this kid. He's a good kid.
He's a good kid.
Just I don't know, be a good dad.
Right. So Michael says, I'm not a warrior, but I am going south.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going south, all right.
Hurley tells Walt that, hey, back home, I'm known as somewhat of a warrior myself.
Oh, my God. I was dying when he said this because I'm immediately like, is he talking about World of Warcraft or D&D?
D&D, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, some kind, or then I was like, or maybe he's some kind of college drinking hero or something.
Oh, maybe.
I was like, I gotta know what this is in reference to. But yeah, my first thought was WoW or D&D.
So Locke has, at this point, he's lost the trail, and Jack's being very antsy. He's like, come on, we gotta find the trail, whatever.
Yeah.
And then Kate pulls Jack aside to tell him to give Locke a break.
And this is where, we really start seeing a lot more of that tension. And I was like, ooh, this is making me uncomfortable.
What tension, you mean?
Between Jack and Locke.
Oh, yeah.
Because Jack has this messiah complex about him.
Right. He's gonna save everybody.
He's feeling guilty, so therefore he needs to take control.
Right.
But Locke knows best. He knows tracking. This is not something Jack can do, So
right. So they find Charlie's tape L on the ground from his hand because he did the word late on his hand. Mm-hmm. Is that correct? Late?
Yep.
Somebody says, "You think it just came off?" Who says that?
I think probably Kate
or
maybe
Kate?
Boone.
Yeah.
I can't remember who said that.
You think it just came off? And Jack says, "No, he's leaving us a trail."
Yeah.
Kind of like Goldilocks, or is it
yeah.
Goldilocks?
Yeah. Not Goldilocks. Hansel and Gretel.
Rumpelstiltskin. Oh yeah.
Rumpelstiltskin.
Hansel and Gretel. That's what I meant.
What? Where do you get Rumpelstiltskin?
I don't know, man. I haven't read these fairy tales in a while. I was just throwing some names out, just spitballing. I was trying to get your brain going. That's all.
All right.
All right. So they keep going. They find an A, and Locke finds footprints sort of leading off in one direction.
Crossover.
What?
There's a Hansel and Gretel reference last episode of Buffy in Nightmares with all the candy bars for Xander.
Yeah. That's true.
Look at that.
So they find the A. Locke finds footprints leading one way, and Jack wants to go the other way, the tape trail. So now they're at a crossroads again. And at this point, they decide to split up, which I'm like, really? Jack, you didn't learn your lesson? You want to split up again?
Yeah, you're just going to end up running around
You're going to do
in
circles again. You're going to start scampering about as you do. But they split up. Then we find out Kate knows how to track a little bit. She's actually a pretty good tracker.
Yeah.
So it works out.
Got a pretty good track record.
Well, not a good record, but her track record, I guess, is okay.
Tracker record.
We cut back to Walt, and he's talking with Sawyer about...
Yeah, so I was like, oh, that's good.
Oh, great. Yeah, just leave Walt with Sawyer. Yeah,
Good
awesome.
job, Michael.
They talk about how Walt thinks that Ethan took Claire and Charlie, and says that he thinks that Ethan might have already been on the island before they arrived. And Sawyer's not really buying it. His quote is, "So a tribe of evil natives planted a ringer in the camp to kidnap a pregnant girl and a reject from VH1 Has-Been? Yeah, fiendishly clever."
Okay, but before he says that,
Yeah.
they're talking about how Ethan, that might not actually be his name. Walt says something like, it's stupid to lie about your name.
Yeah.
Which he says to Sawyer, who is lying about his name.
Right, that ain't Sawyer's real name.
Oh, I love that.
Walt also tells him that Saeed's back, which sort of gets his attention. The scene ends with Sawyer just turning to him and being like, "Saeed's back?" Boom. So then Boone and Locke walk. Boone and Locke walk. Locke walk?
Lock walk.
They do no Locke walk. And they talk about Star Trek, which J.J. Abrams directed Star Trek 2009.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah. Boone asks about Locke's work in the real world.
But also, I was like, I don't know, this doesn't track for me. Locke seems like the kind of guy who would have watched Star Trek.
Yeah, I know. Because he was like playing like the D&D type games and stuff.
And not that everyone
job.
who like plays D&D is going to watch Star Trek. I mean,
right. If you're a nerd, doesn't mean you're going to be
a nerd about
Trekkie
everything
as well. So Boone asks about Locke's work in the real world, and he guesses that, I don't know, either you're a taxidermist or a hitman. Yeah.
That was good.
Locke says, "I was a regional collections supervisor for a box company." And then Boone just kind of stands there. He's like, "Huh?" He's like, "Yeah, right."
Yeah.
Kate and Jack, they start talking about her tracking skills. And Jack's a little messed up by this because he never gets any real details about Kate and her past because she's always talking in circles and they never really get to anything real. So he actually brings it up.
Well, also, hold up, okay?
Jack doesn't give her anything either.
Jack doesn't give her anything, but also he had the fucking chance when they were sitting having their cute moment by the beach. Right. And she was like, "I'm ready to tell you." And he's like, "I don't need to know." Well, then that was it. That was your shot.
All that flirty mystery is gone, don't you think? Just like a level of that,
Yeah, he's like, I need the flirty mystery in my life for a little longer.
Yeah, that's what he's looking for. He wanted that flirty mystery, and if he knows
but
their
now,
old backstory,
now
boring.
He's desperate. He's scampering around. He doesn't know what he's doing. Everybody's better than
details.
him. He's like, he needs something tangible to hang on to.
And she tells Jack that her dad was in the army, and they used to hike and track deer because he loved being out in the woods. That was like his church.
Yeah,
and she said
I liked
that was real.
I liked that quote.
So, flashback, Jack and his dad talk in an office, and they argue about his dad being impaired and drunk on the surgery.
Yeah.
So his dad wants him to sign the report. It doesn't mention the alcohol.
Right, of course. Because his dad wrote up the report. He's not going to say that.
He's not going to put that in.
No.
And he says, "It'll strip me of my license." And Jack says, "Yes, it will."
Yep.
And Jack's dad tries, talking sweet to him about how, sacrifices he's had to make with his relationship. And Jack becomes a little emotional. And his dad sort of caresses his shoulder. And he promises it won't ever happen again.
Yeah. This sent me into some rage. This sent me into some rage.
Some rage.
Because Yeah, so he says something like, I know I've been hard on you, but that's how you turn soft metal into steel. And I was like,
Eek.
oh, fuck you. No.
Yeah.
Like,
this is so many dads.
This is
so many dads.
I know it is. And the whole idea of like being an asshole to your son to make him a better man, like get right out. If Jack is a great doctor and a great man, it's like despite this man's bullshit, like just the whole guilt trip of, oh, don't do this to me. Like I worked so hard for my family and to be, to like help you be who you are today by putting pressure on you. Like what a manipulative piece of shit. You fucked up. You were drinking on the job. Like do not put this shit on me.
You are all wound up.
I was so wound up. I was so just like, I just have a thing about
and let's not
parents
forget, just a
guilt-tripping
few
their kids
episodes
like that.
before the Jack episode where it flashes back to him and his dad's relationship before.
Right.
He basically told Jack, like, you don't have what it takes to do what I do. Yeah. To fail.
No, you're right. I don't have what it takes because I don't go fucking drinking in the middle of the day and then come back and kill a patient. So if that's what it takes, I don't have that. Fucking
whoopsie
dick.
daisies.
Yeah, I was so pissed.
So fired up.
I was so fired up about it. I got to take my sweater back off. I
I
took it off because I was hot. I put it back on because I was cold. Now I'm hot again.
It's off. It's on. It's off.
It's coming off.
Boy, so fired up. Okay. Yeah, so Jack signs the report. He's a little reluctant, but ultimately he gives in to his emotions and his dad, and he signs the report.
Oh, Jack.
So now we cut back to,
so
it's a
sad for
POV, shaky shot of like the caves, and Saeed is there, and he's sort of sleeping in the caves.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out it's Sawyer. Sawyer arrives, and he talks very Sawyer. And he asks,
very Sawyer.
That's my notes. He talks Sawyer. He asks why Saeed came back, and Saeed tells him about the French woman and the science expedition, how she said there are others on the island, but she's never seen them, but she knows that they're there. And Sawyer tells him that he kept his signal fire burning, and he leaves. And there's a nice close-up of Saeed's face, like noticing, like, that could have went. This is how I read it, at least. That could have went way differently.
He was like, oh, you just got served a heaping pile of karma or something like that. I was like, oh, here's one place like I kind of agree with Sawyer. Because, again, I think it's like the island bringing these things up. So
yeah,
Saeed had all this guilt about the torture that he took part in. And then what happens? He gets tortured.
Right.
So like, I think that was the island sort of manifesting that because he needed to face what he did in the past.
Right. Okay. Good theory.
So I was kind of like, no, I kind of agree with Sawyer here.
Interesting.
Not that
He's
I
growing
felt like
on you again.
No, I don't think Sawyer is growing on me.
I just like to point out whenever you
I know you
even
do.
slightly side with Sawyer, I just like to dig in.
I know you do.
So Hurley and Walt play backgammon together. Hurley tries boasting that I took 17th in a tournament once.
Yeah.
And
And
Walt's
he's
not
like,
very impressed.
17th
He's like,
is
that's not that good. He's like, yeah, it is. It's really good. Walt talks about Brian, his other dad.
Yeah.
And Walt wins the game, and Hurley walks away because he has a meeting. He says, I have a meeting. He's walking away, kind of upset that he couldn't win.
Yeah.
And Walt says, wait, you owe me $20,000. And then he says, you'll get it. He just keeps walking away. Then we cut to Boone and Locke. They talk and
Boone and
Locke.
Locke. I don't know if Locke asks Boone or if Boone just volunteers this. I think Locke asks Boone like what he did. And he's like, oh, I run a business. And, he's like, he says that his mom is like the Martha Stewart of wedding companies or something.
Yeah.
So he runs one of his mom's subsidiaries.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? Like, that is not something I would have guessed.
No. What would you have pegged Boone as?
I mean, I could see him as an entrepreneur because he said, I think he made reference before to like running a business.
Like a startup?
But I was thinking like some kind of surf company or like,
Surf
that's
company.
just like what he's, and we know he's a quote
Pac
lifeguard.
Sun. Yeah.
Yeah, or a PacSun type of situation. Like I could see him running. Yeah, I could see him running like a surfer, whether it's like an actual surf shop or just like a surf vibe, like clothing company or something like that. Well, then like as he was talking, I was like, oh, he's a stripper. Like I was
He's
like,
a stripper. He's Magic Mike, Magic Boone.
yeah, I was like, that's the wedding business or like the wedding subsidiary that he runs is like a strip club or, you know, like a bunch of like male strippers or something. The entertainment side of it.
Ooh, if he had a strip club, he'd call it the Boonies.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And then he'd call all strippers the Goonies.
Boone's Buns.
Your next Goonie coming to the stage is one of our favorite Boonies. His name is
Joseph
Magic
Gordon-Levitt.
Lock.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. What? Such a weird one. So Jack and Kate, they find the tea from Charlie's Fingers.
Yeah.
And they hear a bunch of echoey screams, like Claire screaming. Like it's like a rendition of Claire screaming.
Yeah,
it's like
that reminded me
spooky.
of, you've seen Hunger Games, right?
Yeah.
That reminded me of the Jabberjays. You know the scene where,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I think it's in the it's in the second one, the second book / movie.
Pretty spooky, where you feel like you hear somebody that you know.
Yeah, they're like, it's the Jabberjays mimic, or is it Mockingjays?
You're kind of a Jabberjay.
Hey, what? What is that supposed to mean?
Jabber SJJ.
I don't know what that means, but yeah, it can mimic sound bites from like other people.
So Jack starts to scramble again at this point because he hears the echoey screams, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get into my Jack Scramble," and he starts scrambling up like a hill. It's like a muddy hill because it's raining. He's climbing up this muddy hill, and then Jack falls down, but he falls down the whole hill, and then Ethan arrives, and there's like a really cool shot, like camera shot that's like sort of Dutch angle, like canted. It's like crooked, like a crooked camera shot.
Yeah.
And Ethan's almost like a silhouette in the rain.
Yeah.
He's just standing there.
Yeah.
And he says, "If you do not stop following me, I will kill one of them. Do you understand?"
Woo!
And he's very forceful.
He's
and Jack tries
very
fist fighting.
aggressive.
Jack's like, "All right, here we go." And
He's like,
starts
put
to
him
fight.
up.
Yeah, come on, put him up. Here we go, put him up. Yeah. And he starts trying to face off against Ethan Rom, but Ethan is a bit of a machine when it comes to fisticuffs. And he beats the crap out of Jack, basically.
Yeah.
And then he leans down and he says, "No more warnings." And then, bam, he kicks him out cold.
Yeah. Here's my problem with this scene.
Okay.
Kate would have seen Jack fall.
Yeah, but she was up on top of the hill. She was scrambling up behind him, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was behind him. So if he fell, she would have seen him. And she
What
could
if
have.
he fell down to the left of the hill? Like if it's, say it's like more of a pyramid type hill.
But she
okay?
was still
There's
behind
two
him.
slopes.
She was still like
Right?
next to / behind him. She would have
But
seen
what
him
if there
fall.
was like a ridge or rocks or like some jungle or some shrubberies or brush?
some shrubberies?
Yeah, all
No,
sorts of
she
things.
would have seen him. She would
Right,
have
but
seen him.
Sometimes there's like shrubberies.
It
that
doesn't matter where he
are
fell.
in your way.
She would have seen him go down. She would have seen him initially drop.
Right. But what's she going to do? Just slide down like the
Yeah.
Goonies? No.
Yeah.
She's just going to slide down the mud?
Yeah,
But
and
there's
find him. Make sure he's
twigs.
okay.
Ah, too dangerous.
No.
Yeah. She's probably making her way down slowly. She's like, "Oh,
Making
Jack."
her way
And she's like,
downtown.
right. That's what she's trying to do. She's trying to make her way down the mud real slow.
No.
Like, careful like.
She ran like crazy to try
Yeah.
to save him from the cave-in. You're going to tell me she's not going to drop down in the mud when it would take her like 2 minutes?
Couple things.
Not
It
even?
was raining. We're in deep,
Yeah.
confusing jungle.
Yeah.
He was scrambling quite fast.
Yeah.
So I think she lost track of him a little bit.
They were right next to each other.
All right.
You can't talk your way out of this one.
You're just better at talking your way out of things.
No, because I can make sense of it.
I'm making sense of it.
You don't even have this part in your notes. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I do. It says,
Jack fell, got beat up.
okay, it's something like that, okay? No, it says flashback. Now Jack's in the hospital hallway and he sees a man threatening to sue his father
Oh,
for
good.
his
We're
wife
just moving
dying in
forward.
the surgery.
We're just moving right on.
forward.
Okay.
We're moving right on.
Okay.
Yeah, he kicked him out cold. So now we're in the flashback.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this man wants to sue Jack's father, Christian, for his wife dying in the surgery.
His name is
for
Christian?
Wynn. That's his dad's name, yeah.
Oh, we
Christian.
didn't know that.
They call him Christian a couple times.
Dr.
in this.
Christian drinking on the job.
That's pretty good.
Don't you know that you're quite a slob?
And so he sees it from afar, and then in
I'm
slow
really proud
motion.
of that one. I'm really
Yeah,
proud
it's a
of
really
that
good one. Yeah, you're becoming more and more like Whose Line Is It anyways?
Oh my God, I love that show. I love it
I
so
know.
much.
He sees his dad rub this guy's shoulder just like he did Jack's.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even
Then-
connect that.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Yeah, even me, and I'm not even good at this kind of stuff. I connected that.
I
was
didn't
like,
connect
oh, it's
it
the
until
same.
you just said it right now. Like I
same
know
shoulder
he
touch.
did that, but like it just didn't connect to me because I
that
think
was
maybe I didn't
fuel
really
for the
put
flame.
I didn't really
Yeah.
put a lot of emphasis on it
Yeah.
when he did it
No,
too.
I did just because they really called it out like it was slow and it was a POV shot. I was like, oh yeah, they're calling that out for
Yeah.
a reason. Then we cut back to Jack and Kate. So finally, Kate has scrambled down the side of the hill here.
Yep.
And she's met up with Jack, and the rain has stopped at this point. And then what's Jack do? He gets up, he starts running again, starts scrambling, because that's the Jack scramble. That's what he does. Then we cut back to Jack's dad, Christian, who's giving a testimony with like a group of people at the hospital about the botched surgery, and we find out that the woman was pregnant at this point. Yeah. So Jack's face at this point really drops.
Yeah, and that's also why he's going so crazy right now looking for Claire because he's feeling very guilty.
See, I didn't make that connection.
Aha. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, his face drops at this point, and he announces, because they're sort of wrapping up, they're like, all right, Christian, I think that's pretty much it. And then Jack says he wants to revise his statement at this point.
Yeah.
Snitches on his dad about being drunk, and he severed the patient's hepatic artery,
Which is
which
what
led to her death.
Led to her death, yeah.
Yeah, and her baby. Ugh.
So that is what Jack did. That is what
That-
his
that's
mom
what I
was
was thinking,
referring
yeah.
to.
So then we cut back to the jungle. Kate and Jack find Charlie.
Yeah.
He's hanging in a tree. Oh, this is scary
I'm
too.
like,
The shot.
I'm tearing up right now because
Just thinking about it.
I
Charlie
couldn't.
hanging,
I was
swinging.
like my notes say no, 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 no,
No, no, no, no, no, no, no,
I
no,
was
no,
like,
not
Charlie
Charlie.
is not dead. I looked at Dave. I was like, Charlie is dead. I am done watching this. It's the end of the podcast. I can't deal with this. I could
you're a
not.
mess, huh?
I was a fucking mess at
Yeah.
this part.
And I've seen this scene before, and it still struck me because I was like, first of all, I didn't really remember it because you know me.
Yeah.
But also, I was just like, oh wow, this is the way it's shot too, like the reveal of Charlie swinging,
Oh
the
my
low
God.
angle.
It's
It's very scary.
It's very scary.
Yeah, he doesn't look good, and the music is, of course, ominous and intense
Yeah.
when they find him. And then it's not. They have a hard time getting him down too when he's swinging up there.
Yeah.
Because they're working to cut him down, but he's up pretty high.
Yeah,
They
so
have a
it
hard
takes
time reaching.
we're
It
in
takes a
this
while.
for a while.
Yeah.
Like it feels like we are in this for a while.
So eventually, Jack and Kate, they cut him down.
Yeah.
Jack starts CPR, and it goes for a little while. Jack's really working on him.
Yeah, this
And
is
Kate-
so this whole thing is taking
Oh,
so
so
long.
intense.
It takes so long to cut
Yeah,
him
it
down.
takes
It takes so
forever.
long. Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
he doesn't look good.
The tensions are high. No, he looks like gray.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't look like Charlie at all. Looks very
No.
scary. So it takes a little while. Kate starts getting emotional and freaking out. And Jack starts beating Charlie's chest, thinking that might work.
Yeah, which is that a thing? Like,
No, it's actually, this is a trivia thing that I read. But pounding on a chest like Jack does to Charlie is only found in cinema or TV. As it does absolutely nothing. And a doctor would never do that. So
Okay.
this was an attempt to depict a precordial thump, which is only used during a VFib or a VTAC.
so only when you're actually like
Yeah, when
using the
you're doing the electronic.
the
clear.
clear. Yeah.
Yeah. So he starts beating him, and then Kate actually tells him to stop because she thinks it's no use. And he does stop for a little bit, but then he loses his mind again and he starts beating his chest again.
So again, he is reliving that trauma of being in the operating room, of his dad telling him that this person is dead. Stop trying to revive them.
Right.
Again, this is the island helping him work through his traumas.
Right.
Here, so he's like, no, like I am not letting this happen again. And so he
continues to beat Charlie's chest, Charlie's lifeless chest, and then bam, Charlie wakes up.
Yeah.
Finally. Whew. That was a rough scene, man.
I
Took a while
feel
to
like
get
I was
through.
holding my breath the whole time.
Back at the caves, Charlie's just sitting there silent, and he hasn't spoken yet. And Jack checks out his neck, starts looking and checking things out like Jack loves to do.
Yeah.
And he asks
Gotta
Charlie
look at
questions. Charlie's not responding. And then Jack's like, did you see? Did you hear? And then Charlie finally breaks the silence and he says, I didn't see anything or hear anything. I don't remember anything. Claire, that's all they wanted. That's all they wanted.
All they
He
wanted
says
was
they.
Claire.
Kate talks with Shannon and reassures her that Boone's safe with Locke because Boone and Locke haven't returned from their trek out in the jungle.
Shannon is like, they haven't come back. And she's like, girl, there's one person Boone is safe with on this island. It's Locke.
So we cut to Locke and Boone at this point, and they're still tracking in the night this time. Boone is like,
tracking
he decides,
in the night, in the jungle, tracking in the night.
This is going to be your greatest hits album
Got
this
a
episode.
Flashlight tracking in the night.
So Boone decides to turn back, and Locke tosses him a flashlight, and then Boone sort of misses it, and it falls to the ground with a clank.
Yeah. So also, when Boone was saying that he was going to leave Locke, I was like, what? Are you fucking
I would
kidding
never.
me? Yeah.
I would
no.
never leave Locke in the
No.
middle of the night to try to find my way back to the caves after we've been tracking all day.
Yeah.
Flashlight falls with a
Dink.
clank. Dink?
Dink.
Clank. Clunk.
Clunk.
Clank.
Yeah, those are good. Yours are better.
Yeah.
You're also good at sound effects.
Onomatopoeia is one of my strong suits.
Eye flash, blink, blink.
Yeah. Bling, bling. So it hits some sort of steel that's in the ground.
Yeah,
where
a
they
bunker.
are. I don't know. Is it?
It's definitely a bunker.
I don't know, man.
Oh, yeah, that's
But
what that is.
They start digging at it, and then I think Boone says, "What is that?"
It's
and
a
then
bunker.
Locke says, "That's what we're going to find out." And then boom,
It's a bunker, you guys.
lost credits. How do you know it's a bunker? You don't know it's a bunker.
Yeah. What else is it going to be?
Could be an oil tank that's
Repurposed into a bunker?
Could be another plane that crashed years ago.
It's a bunker. Calling it.
So that's the episode of Lost.
Yeah. So, Pat, what is your favorite moment of Buffy?
Favorite moment of Buffy is when Buffy goes Jedi mindset, slow motion, the wind's blowing in her hair.
Yeah.
The camera revolves around, and she knows exactly where Invisigirl is hiding.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a good moment.
That is a good
So
moment.
that's my favorite moment.
I like the Giles Angel interaction.
Angel could do anything. Angel could just be like, "Hey, I'm making ants on a log. Want some?"
I'd
And
be
you'd
like,
"That's
fuck
my favorite
yeah,
moment
that's
of
the only
episode."
way you eat peanut butter. How did you know? You are an
Yeah.
angel.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
I don't know. Because to me, it was a little bit like they were nerding out. Like, I actually thought you would like this moment a little bit more because you always want to pair Giles up with, like, either friends or lovers.
But I could never see Angel and Giles hanging out.
No.
Like they could never be buddies.
They could never have a bromance.
Okay. What's your favorite moment of Lost?
Charlie not being fucking dead.
Charlie waking up?
Yes, that's my favorite
Yeah.
moment. What's your favorite moment of Lost?
Well, I have two, and so it's sort of a toss-up here. I really, really love the ending with the clank and then them trying to dig it up.
Why?
Just because I love when
You
there's
love
like
the
weird...
mystery.
Yeah, I love the mystery of weird crap on the island. Like, what's the deal with this island? Like
It's not weird crap. It's a bunker, Pat.
I don't know
It's
what
not
it
that
is.
weird.
I don't know what it is, man. I also really love the shot of Ethan in the rain and how weird Ethan Rom is and his delivery and how scary and ominous he is.
Yeah.
I like that too.
Yeah, he's scary.
So it's sort of a toss-up between those. I guess I'll go with the Ethan Rom part.
Okay. I mean, you don't have to pick one. I don't care. Which episode wins?
Lost wins.
Yeah, fucking Lost definitely wins. A clear winner.
Invisigirl ain't got nothing on this Lost episode, okay?
No.
Yeah.
Although I will say the Buffy episode is a really good example. It's cheesy, but it's a good example of that whole high school is hell, the like real problems teens deal with, and that being turned into some kind of like demon mystical situation.
Exploring the popularity and being invisible themes is interesting.
Yeah, but definitely Lost wins. What are your predictions for what will happen next on Buffy?
Well, the FBI are not part of the FBI. They're sort of a subsection of the government that's more black ops, double agents. And they have all sorts of like X-Men mutant type kids. Okay. But they work for the Gov. And they do some evil deeds like assassinations like we saw in the book. Mm-hmm. So that's one.
Okay. Wow. That was... I just wrote down the time of our recording so I can actually come back and just
so you can come back
that.
to it. Okay. And then also I wrote perpetually in high school, and that is that all the Buffy episodes will always be in high school. They will never graduate and go to college throughout the series until the last season, of which maybe the series finale, they will finally graduate and move on. But I don't think they're going to have like a whole season or something in college.
Okay.
Even though they should. What do you got for Lost?
There's always going to be a backstory, so that's usually where I start with. It's hard to tell this one because, like, I'm not really sure who's going to be immediately relevant to the storyline of, like, Claire being captured. I don't think we really need any more of her backstory to move the plot along, so I don't think we're going to have more of that. Obviously, the other big thing is Locke and Boone finding the bunker. So I'm actually just going to go with Boone for backstory because he talked a little bit about himself in this episode, and we haven't gotten a backstory for him yet.
Okay.
All of the other main characters we've pretty much gotten a backstory for. Not Michael and Walt and not Hurley, but I don't know. I just feel like there was a little bit more about Boone here. So I'm going Boone backstory. I don't know what to think about Claire getting kidnapped, but my best guess is it's a Rosemary's Baby situation. But I think whoever has her captive wants the baby to either worship or sacrifice. My guess is it's more along the lines of like worship and the psychic was in on it. I think that Ethan and whoever else has captured Claire are the people Danielle was referring to when she said there were others.
Okay.
But I don't think that it's like some kind of native tribe.
Okay.
So I bet it's some sort of culty situation, like Rosemary's Baby.
Situation of a band of others.
Yes. And bunker.
And bunker.
That is a bunker. That is a bunker. People are living in there or have been living in there.
Okay.
That's what's up.
Interesting. Very interesting.
What else are you reading, watching, and listening to?
So we finally finished. I mean, we finished pretty quickly as a short book that Charlie and the Chocolate Factory 2, The Glass Elevator.
Yeah, how did that shake out?
Okay, it gets a little bit better because, spoiler alert for Charlie and the Glass Elevator from 1972, but they end up back in the Chocolate Factory, which was a breath of fresh air. Finished that. I watched the movie Mank on Netflix, which was directed by David Fincher. I'm a huge David Fincher fan.
Yeah, because what's that supposed to be about? It's about
Herman Mankiewicz, who was the producer-writer who worked on Citizen Kane.
Yes, and we just watched Citizen Kane for Movie Club.
Right. Which is good viewing before you watch this movie because it connects in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and there are some pretty good actors in that, right? I feel like
Gary Oldman.
Yes.
The one, the only. Gary Oldman.
Yes, my
Your
man.
crush. Yeah.
I love Gary Oldman.
Yeah, and he's 62 and he's playing a guy in his late 30s.
Oh.
Which is interesting.
But
he does a good job.
He does though. If anyone can pull it off, Gary Oldman can.
Does a good job. But I got to say, I love David Fincher films, and this movie did not do it for me.
No.
It's not a traditional David Fincher movie. It's definitely wholly original, and it's
name some other David
Fincher.
Fincher.
It's interesting. So he did Seven, he did Fight Club, The Game,
What do
Zodiac.
I always confuse
Social
him.
Network, Gone Girl.
Yeah. I always confuse him with the guy who did Twin Peaks.
David Lynch.
Yeah, because their names are similar sounding.
Very, very, very similar.
Yeah.
He took some bold choices in the making of this movie. He actually used like old sound techniques and old microphones to make it like they didn't even do surround sound. They just had a mono mix, which if you're watching in a home theater and all the sounds coming out of all your speakers, I don't know.
It's a lot.
It just
so perhaps it would be better to watch it in a non-surround sound system, like
yes, I would agree with
this
that.
old broad has.
Yeah, headphones are good, or just a little old dumb TV with one speaker. That's fine.
Yeah,
but
I don't even have any speakers on my TV, just the ones the TV have.
The audio is so weird, though. It sounds all echoey, and it just kind of took me out of it because I kept paying attention to it, and I couldn't pay attention to the story.
Like it's too artsy.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. And they also degraded the resolution of the picture, but it's shot digitally, but they degraded it. I don't know. I'm very conflicted about it because I love David Fincher and I love the boldness of the making of this film, but it just didn't do it for me. So,
well, I'm
what
sorry.
are you going to do? Yeah, and I've watched other things too, but I can't think of them at this moment.
Well, we watched for Movie Club,
Raging Bull,
which
yeah,
I would like
You
to
did
title
not like.
Raging Bullshit.
Yeah, you did not like that.
I did
but it's a
not
classic
like
film.
that. I was like, Pat and I are going to get in a fight about this movie.
No, I can't get in a fight with anybody who doesn't really like that.
I haven't really watched a whole lot this past week. I started rewatching Gilmore Girls a little bit, which I'm like, why am I doing this?
Oh, it's one of Amy's favorite shows.
I love it too, but yeah, I think I just needed
comfort food.
Yeah, exactly. I needed comfort food, and so I just kind of put it on in the background. And I've been listening to a little bit of Being Boss because next week we are going to have Kathleen Shannon, who used to co-host Being Boss, the podcast.
Cool.
And that's how I know her. It's a podcast that I listen to a lot about entrepreneurship.
And she's a big Buffy fan.
She's a big Buffy fan, so that's super exciting. Yeah.
I'm going to be so outnumbered here.
I know. It's great.
I'll be like, remember Lost in the Island? You guys are going to be like,
You're going to
Sticks.
be like Buffy, and we're going to be like Xander and Willow in this this episode.
Right.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. And it's great because like she and I have like very briefly chatted, but every time I've seen her, it's been at like a Being Boss sort of like conference or vacation. So there's like a lot of other people around. So it's not like I've had a chance to like sit down with her for like 3 hours and geek out about Buffy. So this will be the first opportunity to really do that. So I'm really excited that she's going to join us.
Very exciting.
And it's a Buffy only episode. So all of you Lost people, aka my dad, who only watch only listen to this for Lost, you can you're probably going to want to skip that episode or not because it's going to be great. Cool. Well, this was fun.
This was fun.
A lot of asides, a lot of puns, a lot of singing.
A lot of songs.
This was a great, we were very on today.
This is probably the longest episode that we've had so far.
Oh boy, I'm sorry.
If I'm going to guess. Yeah, I'm sorry too. I went off on many tangents.
Yeah.
I drag it out just as long as you do, I think.
Okay, good. I don't feel so bad then. Thank you for saying that.
Well, maybe
to me.
not as long.
You know what?
We're both jabberjays.
Jabberwockies.
Just a couple jabberjays. That's what we should have called this podcast, Jabberwockies.
Jabberwatchies.
Oh, Jabberwatchies. What the hell? Oh my God. We have to rebrand immediately. There's Jabberwatchies.
Jabberwatchies. That doesn't relate to anything about what we're doing.
Yes, it does. We're jabbering on nonstop, uncontrollably.
As we
and
watch
we're also
TV.
watching. Yeah, Jabberwatchies.
All right, well,
that's so good. We gotta rebrand, man.
No,
Jabberwatchies is so good.
It's
also a
stupid.
pun.
I regret saying it.
Don't get me all excited about an awesome name like this. I can't handle it when it's too good and unused.
You're gonna wake up in the middle of the night next to Amy. Jabberwatchies. She'll be like, "What?"
She's like, "This again? Let me sleep." And I'm like, "Jabberwatchies, Jabberwatchies."
I can't let it go.
Yeah,
All right,
that'll
so
happen.
I'm looking forward to watching the season finale. Thank you for another lovely chat.
You're welcome. Much obliged.
Much obliged. Arrivederci.
Arrivederci. It's good. Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.
Buongiorno.
God, I love that movie.
Me too. All right, so listen and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. Boy, we're everywhere.
Everywhere you listen to podcasts, we're there.
Yeah,
and if
Pocket
we're not
Cast,
there, you tell us
whatever you want.
that we're not there, and we'll be there.
We'll get it there. No problem.
Get her done.
Get her done. And also, if you can rate us, especially in Apple Podcasts, rate us 5 stars, leave a review if you have time. Also, I should be saying this, but spread the word. Tell your friends.
Yeah, if you have friends
get
who
everybody
like Buffy
start
or
streaming.
Lost, get them.
Get fellow Jabberwatchies to start
No, this is not going to be a
jabbering
thing.
on and watching
We're
shows
not
with
doing
us.
This.
Jabberwatchies. That's what we're going to call all of our streamers.
Ugh. I'm sorry.
Kickers is good too, but Jabberwatchies is
I'm very
unbelievable. It's so good. Okay. Yeah. And what else, Sammy?
Rate us, share us, all the things. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at KickstreamPod. And send emails, thoughts about episodes, respond to our questions that we ask.
Complain about things.
About Pat always trying to laugh at
No,
me
not about me.
my corrections.
No, don't complain about that. It's fun. It's a good time.
To kickstreampod@gmail.com.
If you want a Jabberwatchies mug, let us know. Maybe we can create one for you.
And check out show notes for this and every episode at kickingstreaming.com. So if you're like, what the heck were they talking about here? I always put together a list of things that we mention in every
you put
episode.
a lot of time into that too, so hopefully people are clicking.
Yeah, I link to the
links.
Books and the movies that we're talking about. So
Right,
yeah.
all of our references.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks, and we will see you next week or later this week. When are we going to publish the Buffy episode?
I don't
special
know.
one?
You'll get it when you get it, peeps. Jabberwatchies, you'll get it when you get it. Just keep on streaming.
And remember, streaming is
Better with friends.
always. It's always better with friends.
It's always better.